This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Open Comms. It's Friday, and we're back. We got most of the main crew here, but we're also joined by Dunk Dinkle. CCP Spider is back with the. Already have a hairline coming back in. How's
With
it
the
going,
hair,
guys?
man.
And then, hold on.
And
Blast
Blast him to hell is back for a guest
sorry,
visit.
I'm doing last minute tweaks. Blast him is back. Welcome back, dude. It's been a long time.
Yo! Oh, hi.
And,
Yeah, no Brisk tonight. Brisk is taking the night off because he hasn't had a night off in a while, and since he's also not doing the Meta Show tomorrow, he's just taking a full weekend off.
But Bunny's here too, but Bunny's just not on camera.
Yep, when he's here.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, okay. Ronnie just gifted Brisk a sub.
Oh, he's continuing the gifted sub. So Brisk gave him the sub, so he's
gotcha. Okay.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thanks,
Brisk ain't even here, man.
I was like, wait.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie, for Brisk, who's not even here.
And
what's up? Saren's out there. Look at that. Yeah, Saren. He shaved it off last week for for those that weren't around last week. He shaved it off for the sum of 10,000 Plex to be donated to Plex for Good, and I think we raised like 27,000 Plex total or something.
Yeah, something in that ballpark. Yeah.
It was only in like 30 minutes too. We raised that pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, it was like 10 minutes or something like that. It was just like
yeah.
On the after show, we were talking in November, and he said, "Man, you guys should have pinged me. I would have done the same thing, hair and beard with him." I'm like, "God damn it!" It would have been fantastic.
No, it was great because just like sort of out of the corner of my ear, I heard him say, "Man, I'd shave my head for 10,000 Plex, to be donated." And I'm sitting there going, "Boom, done."
Yeah, that's
done. We got this. We got this. This is going to happen right now.
Yeah, it just totally came out of the blue because I made that offhand comment. I didn't expect anything to happen, and then you were like, you guys are all like, full on strat ops, just we're gonna make this happen, and like 10 minutes, and I'm shaving my head. It's unbelievable. The amount of support that everybody showed was just, it blew every single expectation that I had. It's astounding.
Like rough napkin math.
I'm speechless.
It wasn't able to really do it last week in our state, but I guess if you're going off you can get 1,100 Plex for around $40. I think with the amount that we donated, it was roughly around $800 or $900 worth. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good for like 15 minutes. I mean, that's
absolutely. This is just absolutely, like, as I said, I'm speechless, guys. It's the amount of support that you guys shown was just, I don't have the words for it, man. It's here I am. My hair is slowly growing back, and it's we really did something good, and I'm proud of everyone involved.
Somebody is asking the question out there about when does that end? When does the Plex for Good COVID end?
And so we didn't announce the date. We're we've got some numbers in the back of our mind. We're just gonna see how things go and play it by ear, to be honest.
Okay, so it doesn't have a specific end date as of right now.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not involved in the whole planning and execution of this. I basically just made a happy trigger finger execution on the stream here last weekend. I'm sure the guys who are actually planning this, so that's our community team and some other people. They have some dates in mind. They have ideas in mind. I'm not involved in that, and just can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think I'm looking through the original announcement now, and
Yeah, the announcement did not have a date that I am aware of.
yeah. So, anyways, it's still open if you are. Yeah, and it's going to benefit basically the WHO. Okay, and their research and activities into COVID and things like that. So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the way we can do it from here, right? Obviously they've got to pick an organization that is kind of global in nature and things like that. So good.
The more money we donate, the
Absolutely.
sooner we can all go outside.
That's right, man. That's right.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Does it buy a bunch of UV lights or something?
I've heard that's been working, but I mean, at this point, it's
We could have
I'm
done
not a
Plex for
health
UV
expert.
lights,
Plex for UV lights and
Plex for Lysol, whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, if the vaccine comes out as an enema, I think I'd still take it. Like, I'm so sick of not being able to do anything and everything being closed. But I haven't gone out and protested that fact yet, so I'm still a better person than a lot of people.
You want to protest?
Good
You
for
don't
you.
want
Yeah,
to
I think I'm,
protest your right to die? What?
Yeah, right.
I mean, from my side of things, it's I think it's like week 6 that I'm entering now in isolation, and it's it's rough. But I mean, if in the case of Bison, it's working really well. We're seeing very good results. So I'm just gonna keep doing that because I trust them. But oh, by the way, uh, the McLeod, people are following my suggestions at work just as much as they did before because I work at a wonderful company.
But yeah, I do want to do the first shot tonight again as a follow up to last week. 2 CCP Spider for shaving that dang head. That was some quality entertainment.
That's all
Great.
shots.
And the worst part was he looked good at the end. It was like, wait,
Yeah.
he doesn't
Whoa,
even
some
look
fuck.
bad.
The world just isn't
Yeah.
fair, my dude.
I'm gonna have to get clippers at some point.
No, you gotta stick it out with me, Traden.
Just
I
all the
refuse-
way, dude. It's awful. I can't.
I know,
Hold the
I
line.
hate it. I hate it too, dude. But like, I've seen entirely too many people. Like somebody in the fucking open comms Discord said today is like, I can't stand it anymore. I'm gonna cut my hair, and then their immediate next message
Oh,
after that was,
was
I've made a fatal mistake.
that was Hyper Viper. He's like, it's 9 inches long. I gotta cut it. He's like, I don't know if I should ever cut my own hair again.
Even Brother Bob got the COVID fade, and it doesn't.
Oh,
He's a
he
good
did it?
dude and everything, but it's not good.
I
Like
don't
it's
even know
bad.
what Bob looks like. So
I mean, I can definitely tell you guys,
Link the photo.
like sometimes I feel like a total badass looking like this. If I've got the right, outfit on, I'm
Motorcycle
like,
jacket,
yeah, this
jeans.
works. And then like other
Leathers and
moments, like I'm
chains.
just like
Yeah.
in the bathroom and I'm like looking at the mirror and I'm just like, what the fuck did I do?
But yeah, so anyways, kicking over into kind of like news and topics and things like that, because we do have some shit to talk about, and we do have some people here that can do that. Just want to point out that this Sunday, as with the past few Sundays, I think CCP on their Twitch channel has been doing various things. They did Clear Skies, and I'm trying to think of what was the other thing.
Rooks and
Oh,
Kings.
Rooks and
yeah.
Kings.
Last week
Yeah,
was
Lord
Rooks and
Valderoron.
Kings. This Sunday at 19:30 Eve time, I think it is. Today, actually, the 24th of April, is the 7-year anniversary of the 10th anniversary Fan Fest back in 2013, where they did the Eve Symphony event. And they are going to be replaying the Eve Symphony event, but they are also going to have special guests that are going to be there. The composer of the original Eve Online soundtrack, the Eve Online audio director, and the composer and arranger for that Eve Symphony event as guests. So that should actually be for those of you who love Eve music. It should be pretty interesting, kind of doing a retrospective
really sweet.
on that.
Yeah, and just as a personal anecdote to this, I was at that concert, or well, symphony, and I can tell you right now, this is like at that point I had been playing the game for 8 years, working at the company for 1 year, and I I have never felt so emotional and just like this concert was something else. Um, I was sitting there just dumbfounded at the end of it. It is the most beautiful experience that I've had. You know, I've gone to multiple concerts, multiple symphonies, and this just blew my mind. You know, just as an Eve player, like an avid Eve player for so many years, just being able to sit there and watch this. And I hope that on Sunday we will be able to share a similar experience with everybody. You know, just watching from home. I mean, really, just sit down, crank that the best audio system you got, and it just it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be sitting there. I'm gonna be on Twitch. I'm gonna be chatting with Conway in the comments and everything. It's gonna be amazing. It like I am confident that it's gonna be just as amazing as it was when I was there 7 years ago.
And I gave the titles of the people that were going to be there because I wasn't going to actually give it a try on their names. However, I do want to give a shout out to CCP Old Boy, Baldur Balderson, Baldur, the son of Baldur.
Baldursson, yes. Baldur Baldursson, who is CCP Old Boy, is one of our audio guys right now at CCP. Then you have Jon Hallur, CCP. Anybody have it?
Does he have his own? Well, because two of them don't have a CCP name in there.
Yeah. So Jon Hallur is the original composer of all the Eve music.
GCP Real X.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh.
Thank you. CCP Real
look at that.
X. Jon Hallur, he composed all the original music. I mean, we're talking Below the Asteroids, I Saw Your Ship, all the best songs you've ever heard in the game. He made that stuff. And we're going to hear all of this on Sunday, and it's going to be amazing.
How many?
And then the final
Oh, then
one
the other one, yeah.
is his name escapes me right now, but he is the one that made everything happen. He's-
Christian, what is it? I don't know. Gudjonsson?
Christian Guðjónsson. He made everything happen and made it happen live. So it's gonna be one hell of a show.
Now, here's the question, and like somebody should create kind of a game out of it. How many times during that Twitch chat does somebody say Eve has sound?
I guess
Yeah.
we'll find out.
There should be like a ticker that they can like put up there for, or just in the background because you don't want people to like manipulate it.
Years
Well, I mean, do we want to keep count of that? I mean, I think we should all go in with the mindset that this is celebrating something really beautiful, and it's close to the what is it, the 17th birthday of Eve. I mean, it's let's go in there with a positive mind. Let's enjoy the music. Let's enjoy a beautiful show and just have a great time.
years
Yep.
and years ago, whenever I did not have a good system, and everybody's like, "Turn off Eve sound; it makes it run better." I'm like, "All right, cool." But only recently, somebody told me that you can have your settings set up so you only play sound on the clients that are active, which is the most clutch thing ever. Because now I get to play Eve with sound again, especially now that I have a better system, I can handle it, and I am super. I like that. I do it all the time now. All the times you're just idling, not doing anything. Did you know you had your music changes whenever you start fighting or you get aggressed?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you got combat music enabled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, CCP Darwin out in chat was saying that Jon Haller, he did the composition. He composed all of that. He was like 22 years old.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's
Dirk,
interesting
are you
stories about
pronouncing
there.
the name appropriately? Because I would have said John.
I know. I heard
No,
him
it's
say
a
Jon,
Nordic,
so therefore I went
It's
with
a
it.
Nordic J. It's a y. It's a Y sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed that you.
Oh.
I picked up when he said it. I try and repeat other people's things.
So he's got an interesting story, and I mean, I don't know how much I'm allowed to share, but apparently, like he was like super young and just did his thing and got into the company, and it was good enough for him to be hired. I mean, I'm not gonna go into the details of how it happened, but I mean, this guy by pure chance and luck, I guess, got into the company, made the music we've been listening to for 17 years now, and it's astounding.
If you're
Just-
playing background
Like one of the
music, it's
classics.
really loud.
Oh, that's not me.
It's not even that loud. It's just everybody's enjoying it.
We just have it below the asteroids comms.
There, how's that?
You just get
Well,
to
yeah,
stare
I
at
mean,
our
if you're
faces
gonna put a
while we
sound
listen.
bass in, it's called a sound bass, But yeah, so
That
that
music.
that actually should be pretty cool. And and they are coming up with with kind of cool things on these Sundays that they are running out there on CCP's own channel. So it won't be on this Twitch channel, but it'll be on their Twitch channel. How long did that one go for Rooks and Kings last Sunday?
Oh,
said
I think
6
it was like
hours.
6 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get to catch that one.
Me neither. I was in the middle of stuff.
It's been a while since I've seen all the Rooks and Kings. Well, I don't even know if I've seen all of them. I've only seen a couple, I think. But the pipe bombing
anyways.
one and the one with the carriers and the wormhole was pretty sweet. But
I threw the link out again into Twitch chat for those that are interested. Give it a click and I don't know, pick it up tomorrow, whatever. Just try and remember it. Put it in your bookmarks or whatever.
Calendar?
Yeah, in your
Put it in
calendar.
your calendar?
In your daytimer, in
Yeah,
your
calendar.
whatever,
Your BlackBerry,
your BlackBerry.
That's still a thing.
There was another another week in a row of the Pulse coming out, and just keeping this going. Shout out to Mirage and Bam and the rest of the team up there. I'm trying to think. Actually, I'm not trying to think. I'm just trying to click on who Bam told me it was. CCP Loki apparently is doing
He's
the
a
really heavy
machine,
lifting.
man. Yeah, I'll make sure to pass on a good word. I mean, like these guys, the fact that they've been, keeping this up weekly is just amazing. I mean, I've told them like this is absolutely astounding, and we have like daily discussions about, what's the next post going to be, what is it going to be around, and they just deliver every single week. I am astounded that they've managed to keep it up. So I don't know, chat and you guys. Well, cheers to Pulse guys, because
Yeah, cheers to the Pulse guys.
They are kicking
Again,
ass.
because not only are they putting it out, but they've also had content to talk about in those. Obviously not every little subject is going to ring with everybody out there, but there has been announcements and things like that they've been able to work with. So it's that's great.
Absolutely, 100%.
I should probably link that.
Did I see a video?
100%.
What was the video? Was it recently with Karkar? Did she have
That
something
was
out?
not
last
this
week's.
Friday. Yeah, last Friday. Yeah.
That was last week's. Okay, so I am behind. I am,
Oh yeah, and I don't have it here, but have you guys seen some of the memes that people have used with
Son, I
yeah.
With Karka?
disappoint.
yes,
Her expressions
son,
are
I
so good.
disappoint.
yeah.
I am out
Oh
of
my
the
God,
loop
that
on
was
this
so
one,
good.
I'm afraid.
That was so good.
Tonya has a lot of them, and he's been sharing them with me. They're good.
But anyways, Rain, you were talking earlier about the well, not earlier during the show, but like right
Yeah.
before the show about this 5v5. That's is this something that's happening out in the test server? What is this?
Yeah, so it's on the test server. So I know in the past, like when players have tried to run tournaments, like it's very difficult to get an AT style format, but I think this group of players, so it's a bunch of, I wouldn't say like tournament veterans, I guess is like the most appropriate title. So it's a bunch of various dudes. The one I know is Casper amongst others. So they've been like organizing this format of like pick and bans that's more, I would think like MOBA-esque. So instead of like 3 bands and you pick all the ships and like no one knows what you're picking, it's like a tiered where like you ban a couple, pick a couple, ban a couple, pick a couple, and it goes back and forth. And
Oh.
setting it
Isn't
up.
that a song?
No.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
But yeah, so they've streamed it before, and it takes like I think it's like overall like an hour in between matches, which is pretty slow for like how most people think of like tournaments, because it's usually matches like every 20 minutes if everything goes smoothly. But like the way that they have it set up, because it's like you have pick ban, which is like I want to say like no more than like 15 minutes tops, even if you're like kind of going slower for like some of the newer folks. And then it's like then you have 20 minutes to fit your ships, and it's like a 5v. I said 5v5, so it's 5v5. So you have 5 minutes to fit your 5 ships.
In a way,
You
it's
don't-
kind of so perfect for the Rona times, right? Because it's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck do you have to do in between, anyways?
Yeah, and so they have a Discord out there. I don't know if I can get you guys the link to the Discord. Let me see. Yeah, I can create invites. So I'll create an invite for you.
You
guys
don't
if
really
wanna
need to
send
do
it out
that.
there.
I mean, it's,
Are you sure? I
well,
mean,
yeah, pretty sure.
The
Yeah.
question is, are we making an
No.
open comms team?
I think we should. Yeah.
Right?
So
Let's
they've
do
been
it.
running these, I want to say daily at 1800, and they've been like some of them have been just running them like they wake up, log in, do that all day in and day out, and they throw the offer out there to like anyone who wants to come and join. So like I mentioned, it's AT veterans, but like Matterall was streaming earlier and talking in stations, so you don't have to be like some elite pro or know what you're doing. Like if you want to take it kind of slow or like use the format for your own, like this is kind of the closest you can have to like
Oh,
is similar to an AT format without actually having the AT. Like ships have points. You're free to fit your ship, so you still have that kind of theory crafting. It's a little more showing of your hand because you can pick your ships and you can see what the enemy picks, but you don't know the fits.
Is there a website where like this is
No.
explained and all that? Like, is
No,
there something out there with information?
No, so like I was kind of thrown into it because I got linked the stream and I was kind of watching and I was like, wow, like this is super slow. And like Bay ArtJ, who runs the Even T stuff, he said this is what he wanted to do for a tournament, but it takes a lot of time and it's very difficult to stream because it's like if you're trying to throw on a show, it's hard to do a full show within like under 6 hours. And that's like with really rapid matches and the burnout and this and that. But these guys have just had a ton of dedication. I'm hoping that they don't burn out. I'm hoping this gets bigger. So they're AT veterans, so they're like totally on board with more of the theory crafting and more of like the dedicated time and like the pressure and all that.
Real quick, Rain, was that supposed to go out into chat?
Yeah, I linked it on.
Okay,
Switch.
okay.
Well, hold on. Because if it wasn't, it is.
Well,
Yeah, no, that's
that's
fine.
exactly. I was gonna say like I either made a mistake or I did what I was supposed to do. But
Hey,
I linked
Trayton,
it-
by the way, the link for the Zoom meeting, don't put it out in chat.
But
Oh,
no, so like
yeah.
so if you're curious about tournaments, you want to see what they are, etc. I would encourage you to go there, even just to like chat with people. And I know like with talking in stations, like they kind of talk through very slowly of like the thought process of what goes in behind like picking and choosing, and I know like a lot of other groups, so like Even T included, the Streamfleet Invitational, I want to say like a bunch of other groups, like anything from like Theomaki to I think it was Anger Games, etc. Like they all kind of have their own twists, and this one I believe is, from my experience, the closest you can get to the AT without being in the AT. The thing is though, like with the tournament, it's not really like a tournament format. It's just like a 5v5. So it's, as far as I can tell, they don't have like a table to rank everyone, and then you like have to work your way through the brackets and blah 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 with the prize or whatever. There's none of that. It's just like, hey, log in. It's 1800. Come join up and let's fight. I think they also have like a channel, so if you're like a solo player, like I don't have a team or whatever, so like I could log in and be like, hey, I want to join a team, blah blah blah, or whatever, or like I could make a team. So if you guys all want to try it out, we could go do that.
As long as I can assist my drones to someone and anchor on someone else, I'm cool.
I believe you can definitely do that. I don't know if it's
Kidding.
a winning strategy.
Worked for TNT
Just
Sure.
the once.
the one time.
And it was Cerberus's. There was no drones.
Yeah, they did have to push buttons.
Yeah, no, I think it's I wanted to shout it out because like was it last week I went on a rant about the AT and about
Yeah.
like how
I mean,
shitty it is, and
I wouldn't
like,
call
the
it a
fact that
rant.
AT
I mean, you got a little
Call it a rant.
animated about it and shit, but it wasn't a rant really. It was more just saying fuck a lot.
Well, that's
yeah,
a
that's
rant.
kind of a rant.
That's kind of a rant,
It was a rant.
kind of by definition.
Like, if you overuse fuck, then it's not really a rant. It's just you're just wanting to say fuck for the for the hell of it.
No, that's just her
What's
style.
saying fuck?
Yeah,
Fuck.
there might have been one in there.
That was pretty funny. 15 minutes into last week's show, and I'm sitting there going, God damn, she's used fuck more than I do in a whole show.
Yeah, but no, I no. So I think that's super cool. If you want to throw them, like join the Discord. They stream it on. I think it's what if I say his name right? Geronix account or whatever, or Geronix. Like, I don't know how to promote his Twitch. So if you see something, it's like, hey, 5v5s, like check it out and just like listen or watch. It's like super interesting. If you're like, hey, I want to be a good PvPer, join and at least attempt stuff, because that sort of theory crafting, and like small gang piloting is actually really good for learning the game. Not to toot my own horn, but that's what I do a fuck ton of times, and it really helps me out in fleet battles. Also, really helps you not panic.
But now in that Discord, is that where like, in some channel where the rules are laid out and all that kind of stuff, kind of just how it works? And
Yeah, so they have general information, ping for games. So yeah, so they'll ping out when they have stuff going on. Let me see. So it's talking about like the points, where they're setting up for doing the actual tournament because it's on CC, so you have to figure out where to go there. And then they have like the rule set, so they call it it's like an Excel spreadsheet, so it's just they call it like the draft. But yeah, so it's super fun. At least I think it's fun.
Yep. Well, it's cool. I mean, it's always good to see the players kind of like, trying to step up and create these kind of tournaments, and not to put you off into a rant about other tournaments that may or may not ever be happening again. But it is nice to be able to see the players step up and do their kind of thing, and try and find a way to make it happen, right?
I do like the pick and ban style if they're going to do that, because that allows you to see the comp as it develops and counter things. So it's not just you ban a couple ships that leaves whole comps open. You can really fuck each other over with the counter picks and counter bans type thing.
Yeah,
I like that. I don't know if I've seen a tournament where they allow that, so it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think Even T did it a while ago, but when you get to the point where like people are fitting their own ships, it takes like people really easily burn out, and it takes a lot of time and effort. And like the other part is too, right? Without tournament tools, it's like impossible for you to know as like a captain. You're like sitting there like spamming a ship scanner, but then you have 5 different ships on one team. You have to do that, and then like when you include prizes or anything of that format, people are like, well, how do we know they're not using pods and drugs? And it's like, well, pod the ship, and it's like it's not that difficult to pull implants. And so that's where like this was sort of like balancing that line of like, being serious and competitive without like having to have like the cloud or the like overcast of thinking of like, okay, people are going to cheat because there's 10 billion worth of prizes or whatever is amount you want to throw in there. And so that's where it's like kind of like the camaraderie amongst the tournament teams. Like you can tell obviously if something like this is taking off, because I'm not gonna lie, it takes a lot of effort just to like first of all put that together, but then sit there all day and do it. So the fact that these folks are doing it shows like there's a lot of desire for a tournament scene, and the fact that and the dedication is there, especially with like COVID. All of them talked about how they weren't going outside and stuff, so that they're stuck inside doing all this.
Yeah, that sheet they were using looked pretty neat. They went on talking stations and they made Matterall go through the sheet.
Yeah.
So like Matterall banned, I think, what did he ban? Scorpion Navy issues, I think. And they were like, oh, good ban. And then they went and banned, counter banned something else. And then they went all the way down the sheet through the whole thing. It was really neat how they set it up. So your comp gets built on the fly, and then you have 20 minutes to fit your shit.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you end up with a shit fit, and then you're out in the arena with like, I don't know, a half fit ship.
What
it seems like a lot of fun.
What's the date for these tournaments?
So I think they've been doing them daily at 1800.
Oh,
is
so
what
it's
they
just
told me.
okay, wow.
Yeah, so like if you're on the Discord and you're like, wow, when is it starting? You can just say they're like, hey, are there matches
cool.
going on today?
I would have thought with as much setup as it takes, it would be
that's what I thought.
Not every day. Holy shit.
That's what I thought. But these people, like I said, these guys are bored. They want tournaments to do.
Yeah. It sounds like you just walk in and go, hey, I'm looking for a fight. And they'll go, okay. And they'll throw you in the pool. And then it's like when you played road hockey as a kid. Maybe you didn't play road hockey. I played road hockey. You make a pile of sticks in the middle. This stick goes left. That stick goes right. That's the team you're on. Then they do the sheet. So you get your ship comps and everything. Hey, I'll fly this. I'll fly that. 20 minutes to fit your shit. In you go. Do the fight. Everybody's had fun. Seems pretty neat.
I think we should do an open comms team.
I think we should. I think it'd be fun.
Maybe we can do that.
You have to log in.
We can maybe find a way.
I would have to log in.
You mean like past the character selection screen, or like log in?
You'd have to log in.
Oh, I would have to reset.
Not just claim your daily prizes.
I haven't got my dailies.
I haven't claimed dailies since like day 2 of that shit coming up. Fuck that.
I haven't.
I'm claiming them all, and they're all shit.
Ignore the use sounds for a couple of seconds. I gotta get my dailies.
But anyways, yeah, okay. So, unless you guys have something more to say about that, we can move into kind of like some of the meatier things, that we got Dunk here for and whatnot to talk about.
Yeah,
all right, so they announced this week that CSM 15 is now obviously in the works. The election season is coming up. You've got some real basic stuff starting in in 3 days begins the submission period for those people who want to run for CSM 15. That runs through the 11th of May. So for those of you out there who think you're all hot shit and want to get on board that and have the backing of a major coalition behind you, enjoy it.
Drayden, are you going to be the NC dot rep?
Yes. Yeah. So if vote for me.
He's going to be number 2 on the NC dot ballot behind one of our other very own, apparently, the Blazing of the Bunny.
Yeah.
He'll also be number 1 on the Bastions. So good job, Drayden.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been in TNT. Yeah, so just everywhere I've been, I'll be number 1 on those ballots. No, I'm not. Blazing Bunny is though running for CSM for NC dot though.
Mm-hmm.
Is he here?
What's your platform,
I
Blazing?
am.
Dr. Pepper and the Water Fountains, or what?
So last year I actually ran. Last year it was my first attempt at a campaign, and I learned very quickly that making promises that you have zero power to actually iterate on doesn't work. Because if I looked at my website, because I just had to renew the lease for it, or whatever the terminology is, and I had a list of fucking a really particular balance and changes and shit like that I'd realized there's no place to trying to make, and I saw that a lot on the forums last year too. So I don't know. I like to think that I'm pretty competent whenever it comes to spaceships and the mechanics of the spaceships, and I like to listen to the community. So that'll be the extent of my campaigning. If you I'll probably think of something
Isn't it really
catchier way to do that.
Isn't it really more about whether or not Vince is going to put you number 1 on your own, kind of, alliance and coalition ballot?
That's part of it, but NC isn't the largest alliance out there, and just getting on the NC.
No, but they have friends and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's all part of the game. The metagaming between
the
we'll
Killer Bee
trade
did
you.
ride that.
Yeah, we'll trade you our number 3 for your number 3 or whatever. I don't pretend to know how any of that works. I just I PM'd all the people I needed to and be like, hey, I'm running again this year. It'd be cool if I had your support. I'm excited. I'm excited for this year.
Can I just ask? Okay, and not because you're on this show or anything like that. Can I just ask, from the fact that you're coming from NC, are you going to stick out a whole year? You going to show up for all the meetings and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have nothing to do.
You know the history of that, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. No, I have nothing really to do. I think you guys forget sometimes I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's not like I have a vibrant social life. This game takes up a lot of my.
You're
time,
always a
so.
little bit kind of socially isolated, right?
Yeah. You guys just started this isolation shit. I moved into it a year ago, and it hasn't stopped.
And yes, he's not here tonight, but Brisk Rubal is also running again. He's coming out of his retirement, whatever the hell you want to call it. Last week we talked about the fact that it was kind of like the 1-year anniversary from when that shit sort of all went down, and yeah. But he has announced that he is running. He put a video out. Whether you saw it, well, if you did see it, but I'm asking the question to the people here. What do you guys think about this year's first initial Brisk video? I don't think it was as strong as his one a couple years ago.
Teaser.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was a teaser. Marketed as a teaser.
All right, so it was just a teaser.
Yeah,
it was a teaser. Now I was when I was watching it, I was on the fence and I couldn't decide. There was really long, awkward pauses, and I don't know if those were intentional for effect or if they were. Brisk forgot his line of yes. And then remembered that he was supposed to say yes.
You mean his one line of yes?
His one line of one word, and it's like his kid was like, "I'm supposed to play Minecraft. Do I have to mine all day?" Input cricket noises. Input more cricket noise. Yes. And I was like, okay, and then what? And then the video cuts. I'm like, I don't.
And so I didn't get it either.
Yeah.
First. And then YouTube was like, watch this other video from Brisk Rubal, and I'm like, oh, it's his other video. So I watched it. And in the end of that one, he has his son mining for him as well.
Exactly.
So it's a throwback to last year's campaign video.
So we obviously know that Brisk is going to be removed partway through if he gets on, for account sharing. So
I
like,
mean,
what?
why not,
God,
right?
he made a sequel for the fucking his last campaign video.
He did.
Kind of, yeah.
This is how you do it. You
Jesus.
keep a theme rolling along. You know what
I
I
would
mean?
have
It's like,
liked
look,
to see
if
them.
anybody knows how to do it, it's Brisk. So
Vote for
God bless
Brisk for
him.
Ball. Moloch Boogaloo #2.
Moloch
Moloch
Boogaloo
Boogaloo.
too.
It's the Komodo Boogaloo now, dude, because those are the strongest faction titans.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well,
So,
that was a controversy with the Moloch because they were nerfing it, right? So
Yep.
people were just selling them like hotcakes. And
I don't know about hotcakes. I don't know if there were that many of them out there to be considered.
If all hotcakes were a very rare faction titan, then yes. But so they nerfed it, but somebody had sold one just before the nerf came out, and so the conspiracy theory was, Brisk leaked it, and that's why that Moloch got sold.
We'll never really know exactly what happened
we
because
never will.
it's
It's
all
all
been
NDA.
redacted and NDA'd, and it's just whatever. But yeah, so Brisky
Once
is
the
running
statute
it.
of
Brisky is
limitations
running
wears
again.
off.
I really wish Brisk was here because I was going to straight up freaking ask him serious questions about his run, but we'll have to wait until.
Let's talk
Why
shit
don't
about
you
him in
ask-
Submarine this whole
why don't you
campaign.
ask Bunny about serious questions instead of about him if he's going to stay on or not?
We will. I think we're going to do that on kind of the same night. It's like, why don't we just kind of link it all together? Because one of the big things that came up in this CSM announcement thing, right, was the fact of, okay, number one, they're only going to have one summit. Okay. There have been some people out there that are kind of bitching saying, well, one summit doesn't do it because usually the first one is people getting to know each other. And then the second one is way more productive and things like that. Dunk, what are your thoughts on them? And by the way, I think we've also got to look at it in terms of where we are in time right now. Okay. There was only ever going to be one summit for this particular CSM anyways, because there's no way they were having a summit probably this year. So therefore the second one would be, kind of the one that happens in January, February of next year, more than likely, because all this stuff dying down, right? Like, hopefully it dies down by then. But what if this were to continue, Dunk? What are your thoughts on a single 5-day summit?
I think it's better than no summits. I do think, and people on Reddit and some of the forums don't like to say this, but there is something important about the personal relationships between the CSM members and the development team. Now, someone like myself, I was very lucky. I had known a lot of the CSM or the CCP dev team. I had worked with the community team before at FanFest and Vegas, so I knew a lot of people. But if you come in absolutely cold and you don't really know these people and they don't know you, it does take some time for them to warm up to you a little bit. And like we say, there's stuff that happens at Ferretta at night when you're drinking, and there's discussions, and people kind of let down their guard and talk about what their concerns are, or what they don't know. So I think it does help to have a little bit more time together. And that was the first summit for the newer CSM was a big help. So it's not the end of the world, but definitely, trips cost money, and people's travel, especially now, is a big deal. So,
do you believe a virtual summit could actually be useful rather than just
No.
I mean, not at all.
No, I mean, we have weekly, bi-weekly, basically Slack calls in which we discuss things, right? And it's very compressed, and people are talking over each other, and there's no whiteboard. And it's just like a business meeting. A business meeting is nowhere near as powerful when everyone's remote, as opposed to when everyone's in the room and you can see each other's faces and you can point to things and you can feel emotion and all that kind of stuff. Like, anyone who tells you otherwise is selling collaboration software.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I
didn't mean it to be a drop the mic moment there.
No, it really wasn't a drop the mic moment. I was just actually waiting for somebody else to chime in. But but the other big thing that got announced this time was a 3-year term limit. They're kind of instituting term limits. So basically, what it will be is a 3-year term limit with a 1-year cooldown after that to run again. However, they are giving credit for 1 year for existing members, regardless of how many years they have served. So if, and he's not running this year. Steve Renukin has already said he's not, but I think he's done, I don't know, whatever, like 19 terms or something like that.
Yes, I think it was 6.
6 or something like that. Okay. Like he would be starting off with basically a 1 year in his pocket, so therefore could run for 2 more. Aerith, I think, has been on there for 3 years already. He will be starting off with a 1. Same for, I think, a Nominate. You've got some of the others on, that have been on there for a while. I am obviously in favor of term limits. Okay, I've always been somebody who, I think 2 years and done is kind of, one of those things where if you weren't able to get your shit or communicate what it was you wanted to over that time, sorry about that. Dunk is now bowing out after 1 year, which I'm not going to applaud, because I think Dunk would have been super useful for 1 more year. But they are instituting this term limit thing. Can you speak to how that came about, Dunk? Did that come from their side? Did that come from the CSM?
I can't say how it got started or who set up what. I mean, I can give you my opinion on it, but I can't tell you what happened in the
Give me your
CSM
opinion
and
on
CCP discussions. I think if you read my little blog post about me not running, that it's very, very easy to become cynical about how development works, and it's very easy to become cynical about the players and what their concerns are, and where you're dismissive of what people who play this game
Are you
care about.
cynical in either of those situations?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
What the fuck?
I mean, when I can feel myself, frustrated about, I don't like this direction that the development's going, and I'm like ranting about it to my wife, or the players are saying stuff to me, and I want to like.
Wife?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, I don't want to be that way. I think a lot of people know me from the in-game events, and I like meeting with people, strangers, friends, enemies, frenemies, and I don't like starting to form opinions about people because they write mean things about me on the Twitters, or they write mean things about me on Reddit, right? And it's hard to be a human and not feel that, like, well, person A said a bad thing about me, and they also want this thing conveyed to CCP, but I'm not going to do it because I don't like that person. Like, that's not what a representative should be. So, and for me, in what I do in real life, this whole, pandemic thing has really put a huge strain. Just while we've been on this call, I've got some slacks to give permissions to somebody to view something, and my boss calls me, and it's Friday night. Like, so my life is very busy now. And when I add it all up, I'm like, I want to enjoy the game. I want to log in, have fun, blow stuff up. And, so that's about me. For the rest of the CSM, I also put this in my post.
Can I just cut in there for a second?
Go ahead.
I do think that your write-up was exceptional. I think it really spelled out kind of, a lot of the things that, if you are going onto the CSM, or if you are on the CSM now, you really have to consider those, whether or not you kind of develop, those feelings, or don't even know that you do. It just sort of happens watching the sausage get made.
Yeah. So, maybe I'm unique in that way, but that's what I feel, and that's what I'm doing. As far as being on the CSM for a long time, I have a different opinion than a lot of the other CSM members on this, where I think people can come in for a year or two, and they don't have to be super brought up to speed on everything to have a positive impact on what they're doing. And so I would like to see more rotation of different people through the CSM. The more people in the community that kind of know how the sausage gets made makes it a little easier when big changes are happening, to kind of keep people feeling like it's not the end of the world, or it's not, like whatever. But a lot of people don't really know how it works inside the development process. And so there's a lot of tinfoiling and just overthinking and underthinking. So I think I'd like to see more opinions come through the CSM, and I'd like to see more ex-CSM members out there in the community able to comment on things, not from a position of they know the secret information, but from the understanding of, like, things are always more complicated than you think, and there's always secondary effects and things like that you don't always see when you're just like shit posting on the forums or Reddit.
I mean, to some extent, former CSM members can act as sort of elder statesmen in a way, right?
Oh yeah, they
to some
absolutely
degree.
do
I
that.
mean, yeah. I mean,
Sorry,
you
Doug.
look at somebody like Elise. No, go ahead. You look at Elise Randolph, right? Who I look up to, And Elise has been on the CSM multiple times, but he's not on it now, and I don't think he has the interest on it now. But if Elise comes out and says, "Hey, let's give this thing a try," the community goes, "Well, Elise says maybe we should give it a try," and he's kind of in the know and whatever, and that can help calm kind of the let's shoot the Jita Monument stuff when it needs to be calmed down. So I think there's a role for people to come through the CSM, make their impact, move on to being back in the community. If they feel strongly later they want to go back and try and be part of the CSM, well, go for it. But I'd like to see more rotation on the CSM. I think it'd be helpful to the development team to hear different opinions. And I think it'd also be helpful to the players to have more ex-CSM that understand how CCP works.
So
Spider,
can
did
I
you have
just
something?
intervene here just real quick? Dunk, what is that jacket? Why is it looking so badass? I just have to ask about it. That looks dope as
It
shit.
looks like the Jin Tan jacket.
Yeah, it's, I was gonna say.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but just
that's the Dunk version. Though.
what is this?
It's gold.
Yeah, man.
Have we ever
Oh,
had
man.
a
Golden
Chinese
Dragon.
competition between Dunk and Jin?
I don't think so. I don't think they've
Look. Jin has one fucking jacket and one fucking tie. All right. I've got at least a dozen different suits that I've worn to different Eve events. This is my New Year's Eve jacket that I wore out in public on New Year's Eve with my wife.
Did we hit a button there? I'm just saying, like, Jin's got the gold jacket, but
Jin
he's also
definitely has
got the
more than
he's got
one.
like the pot leaf jacket. And,
Yeah,
Wait.
the weed jacket.
Okay,
Which
that's
jacket
two.
did you
He's
have
He's
at
got two.
Vegas?
He's got
though?
two
That's a
jackets.
big
No, he has
question.
Two
serious
jackets.
too. I was on the AT with him, so we had to fucking get dressed up every weekend.
Do you want me to just rotate through jackets every 5 minutes on this
Yes.
to your tired?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
please,
can you
'cause I
start
know
with
you
the
got a closet full.
Vegas
Well, hold on,
the
all
Vegas party
For
jacket? Can you start
5,000
with that
plex?
just to refresh my memory?
Sure.
Space
Let me
to
get
space.
it.
And the
Yeah.
and the best part for Dunk is that with a lot of these, just like with Jin Tan, he's got the bottoms too. It's like it's not just a jacket thing. These are like full ass suits.
All right. Well, just to match Dunk, I'm gonna get my proudest jacket.
But I do want to go back to the
Rather
term limit
jacket.
thing, and I kind of want to open it up and sort of hear what some of you out there think, which is, but I kind of want to read what they wrote here. Serving on the CSM is not an easy task, and facing the realities of fast-paced game development for the universe we love can take its toll on even the most fearless pilots in New Eden. There is also an undeniable advantage to having a fresh perspective on things that comes with new members joining the council. The desire is to create a system that incorporates the value of having new personas without penalizing those players who find fulfillment in serving on the CSM. And that is why, with the 3-year term limit being instituted, they weren't making it more retroactive than 1 year. And honestly, I do have a problem with this, okay? From the standpoint of, if somebody has already served at the 3-year, I think that they could have gone with building in a 2-year thing. If you've been on there already longer, it still lets them run for one more year. The whole idea is, if it is an advantage to having a fresh perspective on things that comes with new members joining the council, then what this has sort of built in, assuming that people don't just not run on their own, this means that this won't actually play out for a while for several of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not part of the CSM. I'm not really big on the CSM discussion, but term limits is a good thing in the CSM. So I think it, but like you said, was it going to be a nominate and a couple other guys? They got at least 2 more years by the math that I can see in my head that before they can even be on that 1-year cooldown.
And then all we're talking about is just even a 1-year cooldown in between, right? It's like I don't know. I think that they could have sat there and and said 2 years.
Do you guys remember in the past when CCP would change some of the CSM rules, but they did it and it kind of seemed deliberate to keep some CSM from running again? I think the reason CCP only gave them 1 year this year was to make it very blatant that they weren't trying to boot certain members off the CSM. Now, granted, Sort and Steve aren't running again.
They're not running again.
But if they were, this is CCP's way of saying, like, look, we're not trying to penalize these two or say Aerith on his 3rd year or whatever. They're just saying, hey, this is a rule overall. We're doing it independent of who's on the CSM right now. And we wanted to make that clear. And that's how I read it. Because when I saw that, my first thought was, oh, they don't want X, Y, and Z to run again. And then I read it further, and I was like, oh no, that's not what their goal is. That's not what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how I saw it.
Yeah, and I
actually,
understand, like, if they're just releasing this now, then they wouldn't want to be like, here's the term limits. Oh, by the way,
you got one. By the way, no.
But I know.
But that wasn't
like,
it. They weren't putting in a grandfather number. It was only the choice of whether or not they gave credit for 1 year that already exists or 2 years.
Right.
They were still going to let current members run for at least another year, right? So it doesn't mean like, oh, you've already got 3 under your belt, boom, you're done. No, you can go for another one.
One more, right?
I'm just worried that this delays it. I'm worried that it delays the effects that they are trying to achieve out to a point where it's like, well, we may not even see the effects for this, for a couple of years.
I thought, like, when I saw term limits, I was like, cool. And then with the 1 year cooldown, so it's not really like actually limiting your terms. You just have to take a break once in a while, essentially. If you could, so I mean, you could run 6 times in 7 years if you win all those, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of almost reduces the effectiveness of the term limits. But
by the way, I'm not I think Aerith is included in this. I think a Dominant may be included in this, and when and Goonie DuPont out there actually said on if I can figure out a way to like scroll back and shit that we have limited sane people in the Imperium. Be careful what you wish for. We may end up having to send insane people to the CSM. That's actually not fucking true. If there was anybody out there with a deep bench, in terms of, we've seen it, not just in terms of the number of people that they are able to put on there, but the number of sane fucking people, and especially going back over the years, Goon, the people that the Goons get behind to put up to the CSM, these are well-rounded individuals, generally speaking. I don't, and I'm not talking about whether or not you consider Zenuria or like, any of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about their main line people. CSM. So I think that they do have actually a deep bench. I think a lot of these organizations, definitely the organizations out there, the coalitions and whatnot, the big ones, the big players, they do have deep benches of very value additive people. So I'm not kind of worried about it from that perspective. I'm just more thinking that if what they say in here is true, then we probably won't see the true net effects of these term limits for a while.
Well, at least 2 years, right?
Plus, let's not pretend like anybody has anything to gain just from spamming candidates into the CSM and putting them through just because you can, right? You really, you're doing your, like, if it's all about the health of the game and not just about a power symbol for sending people to the CSM, which I don't really understand that. If you don't really want to send somebody who just has no idea what the fuck is going on, because that person is going to be useless there. You know what I mean? It's not like you have any kind of real power to say this is what the goods for the Imperium, I think, and then change game this way, and it happens. You know what I mean? You're there as a consultant, not as a developer.
I will say,
sending people who are fucking stupid isn't helpful.
No, but that's not going to happen in most cases, right? For the organizations that are backing
on the CSM who actually try stuff like that. Hey, I'm only going to help and promote and give feedback on things that help my group, and it's caught on very, very easily by not only the fellow CSM, obviously, but also by CCP, and they're not fucking stupid. So,
but go.
That's it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I just think of all the things we metagame a lot of things whenever it comes to EVE Online, whether it's spying or, well, that's the only thing that I can think of right now. But there's a lot of things that get metagame. I just don't think the CSM is really one outside of the voting process.
But yeah, I mean, I do think it is highly positive to get those fresh perspectives on there. I think it is also fresh perspectives as well as stale perspectives. When the same thing is being said over time and, CCP ain't buying it, either A, you're saying something that, they're just cease listening to or what have you. And then, of course, we have kind of the experiences from years past, where it's like, jaded motherfuckers get on there and whatnot. And you don't want that either. The bitter vet, kind of syndrome, right? So it's like, maybe we need to see much more, of the fresh perspective kind of rolling through there and not just sort of the establishment type stuff.
Let me throw this out there. The devil advocate side of me says, but what about the agenda pushers? We could fall into that trap
You're always gonna
that
have
these agenda pushers come out every 2 years or 3 years. That's kind of toxic to the CSM. That's not what we want to see. We
Well,
want
I
to see
think
the
if
people. Yeah, go ahead.
if you get on the CSM and you are pushing something that's clear to your specific benefit, or you don't want to hear what CCP has to say or CSM has to say, you very quickly kind of get boxed out of all the decision making, and the conversation just moves away from you. So
So
I know
would you
people
say they
think
become
that's the way it
useless?
works.
Right.
I wouldn't say Mrs. Dinkle is giving me the eye over here. I don't know what she wants.
You're getting the eye.
She's just saying hello. Oh, she sees the suit. She's feeling all frisky.
She's wondering where the grinder is.
Well, I mean, like I had to say, when I saw
Yes.
that suit, man, I need to know where you got it at least.
Yes,
I'm
it
a
was on the
bored
internet.
spouse,
So I think I lost my train of thought. No, what I was saying is, it's not that people on the CSM become useless per se. It's just that the agenda pushing is pretty clear for everyone to see, right? And it just gets no traction anymore. So I think I wrote in my little blog post that, this is a business meeting. These are business meetings you're going to. There's a bottom line, there's key performance indicators, and there's goals. And if you can't speak the language of business and put the proposals and the ideas and the terms of that, and you can't express your concerns and opportunities and all those things, if you can't express it in a business fashion of why this is good for the game, good for the health of players, they're going to like it, they're going to log in, then people have no time for you, right? And you'll just, if you're just like, I want this for my personal playstyle reason, it just doesn't get you any traction anymore. And people will disregard it, they'll nod their head and they'll move on.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Dunk, you actually, hit the nail pretty fucking hard on the head there.
Now, the other change that is coming up this year is to help voters get more information about candidates and challenge the applicants to think about their candidacy. The campaign forum post-creation process will be formalized and considered as an integral part of everyone's application. So therefore, everybody's got to make a forum post for this kind of thing. Blah, blah, blah. Therefore, when sending your application, you will have to create a campaign thread in the CSM section of the EVE Online forums answering the following 4 questions. Your EVE Online story, your areas of expertise. In which areas of the game do you feel you're the most knowledgeable? What qualities set you apart from other candidates? Which I'm not sure how that question is actually going to get answered, because how will you know what other candidates? Anyways, why are you applying for the CSM, and what can players expect from you? I personally look forward to Eris one-word answer to all 4 of those questions. Maybe 2 words if he just says fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
I think if he doesn't take it seriously, CCP is going to say no.
What are they going to do? Oh, okay.
I
Well,
was
maybe.
wondering when I saw
I don't know how
past,
serious
they
they're.
say-
I don't know how
they say
serious
if-
they're going to take it.
Well, because so this is the way I saw this, and I think I brought this up to I think it was the sort. But I
This
said
is to filter out the
obvious-
low effort
yes,
guys,
The
right?
low effort, the people who just
trolls.
send in their fucking your passport photo and say, "Oh, let me run." So that's what this is, and I could see them at some point being like, "No, you didn't fucking do shit. Like, we're not gonna just accept everyone and their moms. We have 50 candidates with like maybe 5 actually like putting in any effort."
Like in the past, there's
they-
been guys who've been like,
The code guy.
I'm
The-
famous FC. Here's
Yeah.
2 tweets. Vote for me.
Well,
There's always the code guy. that
So you
posts that
think
says, I want to
CCP
make
is going?
Isaac kill all the people there. I mean, there's always the troll posts.
And there's always
Well,
the anti CSM candidates too, the ones that want to go there and tear the whole thing down.
Yep.
Yep, and you have that as well. But like, do you think CCP is like actually going to be grading this? As to
I think
okay,
they'll say you
you
have to
did
put
what
in
we
effort.
asked, and therefore, like
So
pass.
if you do like
Even though somebody may have 10,000 votes, does it like?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You
Okay.
can have 10,000 votes, and if you withdraw, then none of your votes.
But don't they? Didn't they have like a set number of people that were allowed to be candidates? Like, didn't they go through all the posts? Now, last year I don't think they had enough people applying to fill the max amount. But don't they normally have like a max number
No.
of people they allow to be on the ballot?
No, I think it's anyone who applies can get in, as long as you fulfill all the requirements.
So I wonder if they'll weed out the people that are obviously not being serious and just be like, no,
Yeah.
you don't
Right.
you don't get to be on there.
I think that's what the forum post is for.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so Brisk shows up in chat. Brisk goes, God damn it, the one night I take off, you guys talk about the one thing I actually know shit about.
Well, you
Hi-
decided
hi,
to take
Brisk.
the night off, Brisk. That's not our fault.
Get some rest, Brisk.
He's
Go to
like,
bed.
I gotta have a week off, and then shows up.
Shoulda-
shows up to the
shoulda
show
read the show
anyway.
notes.
Chat.
Should have read the show notes, dude. That's
Yeah.
the only reason I showed up. I was gonna take a week off like you, but then I learned to read.
Fallout 3, does that even work on PC?
Well, come on, Brisk, you know where we're at. Get your ass into Team
It's campaign
Come on.
season. If you were running for president, would you take a night off? No.
Probably would.
Well, it depends what who you
I think we got to be honest about Brisker Ball, but that'll be next week.
He's in chat, by the way.
I know he's in chat.
Yeah,
I saw him in chat, lighting it up. I heard people saying Brisk and whatnot. We'll be serious about him next week. We all have some questions to ask, I'm sure.
We got questions. He doesn't have answers.
Do we have other topics to talk
Got
about
him.
tonight, or
There,
Got him.
there,
Oh, he's in comms now.
I hate you all
There-
so very, very much.
oh, hey, Brisk.
Got
there,
him.
there is a section here. There is
It
a
was
section
just
here in this
that
devlog.
easy.
CSM roles, expectations, and cock updates, or whatever
Wait, cock
COC means.
updates?
Well, and
Code of
COC
conduct.
updates.
Code of
Oh,
Jesus.
What?
nerd.
I don't know. It just says it.
Cliff.
Bruh.
Update your
Oh.
cock, boys.
Dude, I didn't know
Several-
it needs
several
updates. I'm way
adjustments that-
behind.
Several adjustments have been made to the Council of Stellar Management website to reflect the upcoming changes and to make sure that the rest of the information is clear and up to date. You're invited to read each of the sections carefully, which maybe you should do if you got to fill in all this shit. Paying close attention to the role, expectations, and the code of conduct. There we go. That each member is expected to follow at all times. One of which I do believe is that which happens on the CSM doesn't get spoken about.
Like an
And you
NDA.
can't even
Like
talk
an
about that
NDA?
shit. No, it's like, you know what? They actually moved it past, I think, and somebody can correct me, Brisk or Dunk. I think they moved it more past.
it's
you know what?
more-
You
it's
can't even
more-
talk about.
It's more about
Good.
it's more about, hey, this is a business meeting. Let's keep it civil and respectful, and let's not go on long rants and be, like it's more about let's keep this professional, right? Because
So-
it can
And
feelings
that's
can
what I
get
want to
very
know
strong.
the story behind the addition of that.
So no
Yeah,
starting
so,
wars over what was
just
said
to
on
tag
a
on
secret
to
CSM
what-
meeting.
I wasn't gonna
Thing
say it,
really
but
got that added?
Just to tag on to what Dunk was saying, it's basically let's be civil with our feedback, let's be constructive with our feedback, and let's keep the conversations in the place where everybody feels welcome to have their opinion.
So like I said, I really want to know the story behind why that was needed to be explicitly explained. Because I'll tell
Oh.
you that I can speculate.
When
It
you're
won't-
back under NDA, Brisk.
Look at that suit.
I've
I've
never
been
been.
holding
I've
back-
never
I've been
not been
holding
under
back a
NDA.
shot. I'm doing a shot to that. I'm doing a shot to all the candidates that will run this year for the CSM. I'm doing a shot to Dunk for a hell of a year. And you know what? Sitting there and stepping out after 1 year, being like, "Mic drop, bitches." So you know what? To all that in that fucking jacket.
Yeah, he actually is still swapping
America.
jackets. Damn, dude.
Omeka is
Good
correct.
man.
I think if there's anybody who's been uncivil, it was more likely than not him.
So
Look, it's easy. It's
being
easy.
uncivil,
Like,
Dunk, do you want to handle this, or should I? Or I mean,
I'll just give an example, right? Like
all right,
most
shoot.
of the people who work at CCP, they do their job, they're focused, they're not really out there. They're doing their job, right? They're going to work every day. They're doing their job. They think they're doing a good job. And what they don't need to hear is a group brought in who yells at them and says, "That was the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life," right? That's not productive. It doesn't help. And not everyone is a thick-skinned Eve player. Some of these people, they want to hear your opinion, but they don't want to be yelled at and treated disrespectfully. And I think that's more of what this is about, more than the way the CSM treats each other. Because to be honest, we'll sort that out ourselves, right? We'll go out for drinks later, and then there's hugs and all that good stuff, and we get all back to the hotel together. So I think it's more about there's a lot of people at CCP who are not hardened EVE players who are up to their ears in this kind of like shit talking all day. I don't know, maybe Spider, if you want to amplify that, if I'm on target.
I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. I think the main thing is, I mean, on top of what Doug already said, is just, we need to realize that everybody's human in these meetings, and we're, sitting in these rooms for basically a week together, and we're having, I hope, constructive conversations, and we need to keep that mentality up. Is, I mean, as soon as somebody says something that isn't constructive, it just breaks down the barriers the walls, the foundations that we've been building up for the prior days, and we need to find a way to make it so that we can build up these foundations, we can keep building them, we can build up this trust, and we can have a situation where everybody is providing constructive, critical, by all means, critical feedback, but constructive feedback. And it's a delicate balance, and we definitely need to find that. And it's, in my opinion, a very legitimate thing to point out in the requirements.
Well,
Yeah,
here's what
take
I
a
would say.
read of
And
any
Omeka
thread.
said,
Go
Omeka,
read
Omeka
it.
said,
Just let me finish one thing.
okay, Don.
Just go read any thread on Evo forums, and you'll see the vehemence some people have towards CCP. And imagine one of those people getting onto the CSM and expecting they can come into Reykjavik and talk like that. Like, that's what the concern is about.
Exactly.
All right. I will take what you say at face value, but I would say I don't think that you're going to see that type of stuff added at CSM 15 after 14 previous CSMs have existed where they haven't had the need for that rule unless something specific happened. Now, I'm not saying that I think that Omeka cursed at the CCP devs in the middle of a meeting, but I'm willing to bet that in conversations between CSM members, including potentially at meetings or something like that, that it got heated between people, because I'll tell you, there are folks on there that don't like each other, and that's completely legit. So I can see how they could say, look, we don't want you guys at the table, giving each other a hard time and just making it a general rule about it. That's what I think probably happened. But I wasn't there, so I don't know. I'm speculating. But look, Omeka and I have gone back and forth, and I think in person and when he's on shows and when he's on comms, he's a great guy, very nice to talk to, very polite. We have a good time. No problems with him. When he gets behind a keyboard and he's typing stuff, he can be very nasty. And I just can see that being a thing.
Hold on. Omeka?
Yes.
Omeka goes.
He's not. I've never seen him. At least
because you don't read, Dirk.
Even with the publicly released information, I don't see him being nasty. Like, he's got his opinion, which may differ from yours, but I don't see him being nasty. Like, you mean like a nasty reporter in the press room or something like that? It's like, you're being nasty. You're asking me a nasty question. I don't want you to fucking gargle Lysol.
Sorry, Dirk. Can I just nip this in the bud real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
This has nothing to do with any CSM member. This is purely a decision that has been taken because of changes within the community department, and I guess we're realigning and shuffling things around when it comes to the CSM to a degree that it just works for everybody. And I can assure you, this has nothing to do with anyone who is on the CSM, who has been on the CSM. Nobody else is to be. This is just us trying to set the guidelines, set the parameters, in a more comfortable position for everybody involved.
I will say, though, that the one regret I have about not running for CSM is next year not being able to go to the summit with both Brisk and Olmeca and watching the two of them drunk with their arms around each other, snuggling up together,
And
which is
that'll
invariably going to
'cause,
happen when this actually happens.
We
So
hung out in
that I
Vegas.
do regret missing, because I assume it'll happen at the karaoke bar at about 1:30 in the morning
Oh, they gonna spoon.
with some anime band.
Oh, they gonna spoon.
Oh my god, dude.
I don't know about
Who's-
the anime band,
Who's Big
but
Spoon?
I don't
Man,
know. I think I
I
like.
just unbanned a motherfucker out there, and it's like I always wonder whether or not I should ever do that. But you know what? Like honestly, like
They do a rolling spoon where every now and
I try
again
and be
throughout the
chill.
night you flip and you
Oh.
change. You know what I mean?
That requires synchronization.
No, it's because when one of
They're
one's
that
arms
So
in
you
get
stay
sync,
front to
tired,
back.
they're like,
They're
bro,
that
my
in
arm's
sync.
tired. Let's roll over, and then that's what you do.
but
I missed this because I was, trying to vacation away from the show and I didn't see it. Did you guys talk about the one week thing? The one summit instead of two?
Yeah.
yes,
a little.
yes, we did.
Yes, they did.
I pretty much said it doesn't fucking matter for CSM 15. There was only ever going to be one summit this year just because of the Rona. Okay. Now, where it goes to after that, then let's let CSM 15 work that out.
I think in general, there needs to be two. The first one is kind of a get to know you, especially for the new guys. And that's where you really get your first chance to put faces to names and learn about people outside of, Eve personas and stuff like that. And the second summit tends to be the one where I think the more legitimate work gets done, because at that point there's trust and people know each other. They've been working together for
Agreed.
a long time.
We all
and they've already
stipulated
met.
that for the record.
And not having the two, I think that takes away a bit from the experience.
Agreed.
That's my take on it.
But again, remembering the time that we're in, like
Now,
honestly,
I agree.
hold
No,
on.
I'm not
Like-
exactly.
like-
My only thing is that
like
they're
honestly,
changing it now.
they are
but that
literally
doesn't-
saying this year we don't want you motherfuckers coming to our country right now.
But it doesn't say that this is a 1-year thing because of CSM. 15.
That's right.
It
That's
said
right. It
this is
doesn't. So
moving
we
forward.
can
You're
cross
right.
that bridge at the next summit, and potentially
It'd be
that
easier to
CSM
change it
can
next
make
year
those
than
things.
to make it
Otherwise-
like, by the way, the first one's canceled.
Otherwise, I'd highly recommend that they hold the first CSM summit, and I don't know, like late August, early September, maybe November, in Florida. But they're not letting you bitches come there.
Did you
Just
say
work it out.
CSM summit in Florida?
This year is not going to be the year where there were ever going to be two summits, even if they didn't change that. So it's
Hold on,
like,
let's get back to what's more important. Did you say CSM summit in Florida? Because I'm super down for that.
yeah, like in
I-
the fucking fall and shit.
I'll book that ticket right now. You ain't even gotta fly
I
me out
would
there.
prefer not to have a summit somewhere where I'm forced to go like every 6 months anyway.
Yeah,
I was gonna say a summer summit.
How
and break it
about
up.
Atlanta?
Can we
You
do
can
it
go-
in Hawaii?
You can go to
maybe?
Atlanta.
How about
Have it
Hawaii?
in New York.
Hawaii would be dope.
Let's do it in
Spin the
Hawaii.
wheel.
Have
I'll
it
do
in
it
New
in
York.
Paris. We can
Exactly.
do it in Paris.
Exactly.
if you want.
Have it somewhere where it's hot and
That'd be
humid
fun.
and the sun can fucking UV ray that shit the hell out.
That's not how it works.
What about Oklahoma?
Brisk just doesn't
I was
want to go
thinking
because I'm gonna give
Fargo.
him Mickey Mouse ears.
I have family in
Say
Florida. I'm there
Fargo,
all
North
the time.
Dakota?
I do not.
Hell
like it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
what's
that. I swear
Holy
to
shit! Did
God.
somebody just sit there and type Mr. Hyde out there? Mr. fucking Hyde is what the fuck?
What game?
Fucking Hyde.
How are you, dude?
Dunk did a wardrobe
Wow.
change. I like it.
That's a
He's
straight
done
up
like
fucking
8 of
name.
them
Haven't seen in
already.
a
Like his
while.
15th
Yeah,
one. It's
we
ridiculous.
brought up like whether him or Jintan has the better jacket game, and he took very large offense to it. Now he's switching jackets every like 5 minutes.
On. And here's the thing.
It's like a Britney Spears concert.
I feel as though we
I'm
do
impressed
have
though. All the
to
jackets are
put, like
great.
award at least in terms of variety to freaking Dunk. Like
Oh yeah,
Jin, I think kind of originated it. I could be wrong about that, but like Jin was the one I think that got the most attention early on and whatnot. But like
it's because he
Dunk
did
has
it.
You don't
come
know.
through-
No,
Dunk has
no,
come through with
no,
an entire
no,
fucking
no.
Because
wardrobe.
Jin did
Look,
it at the
Dunk-
AT,
Dunk-
so people just saw
Dunk
it.
has had this.
Yeah.
Dunk has been doing the wardrobe stuff as long as Jin has.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like Jin did it on the AT, the one where
Exactly. I think he had a little more
Stream
high, a
Fleet was
little higher
broadcasting.
profile
That
at
shit
the time.
was so funny.
So like the broadcasting
Shows up
quality
in
was
the
really
weed
high,
suit.
and they had like an actual broadcasting desk analyst desk there that they were filming at in a studio. And so with Jin sitting there with his, you couldn't even see. It was actually he had to take it off because it was reflecting and glaring into the camera so bad that you couldn't.
Jin
gold
had a
thing?
Jin had a higher profile at
It
the
looked like he was
time
wearing
in terms
holy
of
light instead
video.
actual clothes.
But Dunk has now come through with literally an entire wardrobe. I mean,
Yeah, he's on like jacket number
God bless.
6, and I imagine that there's more
Yep.
to go. Yep, here we go.
I know that the Jin Tan jacket never went into low power.
It was never abandoned either.
Segue.
Speaking of, we are going to fucking segue. I want to thank you
Well
for
played.
that
If
fucking
you, all right, if you guys are off
segue.
the CSM, I'm going back to Fallout 3. And yes, I did get it to work on my PC.
How'd you do
But
with that?
by the way, I do want to remind some of you out there, because some of you out there in watching the show right now or listening later on, okay, are probably gonna want to put your name in the hat and shit like that. So again, from the 27th of April through the 11th of May, that is when you need to get your submissions in. From the 28th of May to the 15th, so like a week there, they have got the processing of applications. They are then on the 18th of May going to put out the candidates, which will then open up the campaign period, which, number one, any one of you who are fucking running for this shit should have already been running before certainly that happens, and you should be running right now.
I urge everyone to read the article I wrote for INN on this subject.
Yep, absolutely. Out on INN, and somebody can find that and link it in the freaking channel. The 1st through the 8th of June is when we will be voting. So, by the way, I don't know what your state or your country is doing about opening up and whether or not you need an absentee ballot or anything like that. But the 1st through the 8th of June is when you're going to want to do that, and then they're going to reveal it on the 12th of June. Who the new council of CSM 15 is. So get your shit together if you're serious about it. And even if you're not serious about it, kind of get your shit together.
I hope it's me. I hope I make it this year. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really wondering if anybody's going to do the whole fucking CSM interview type shit. It's really kind of weird for me knowing that we have 2 individuals who are quasi related to this show that are going to be running for this, but no, you know what?
Quasi related.
You mean
We're gonna-
quasi related?
We're gonna fucking hammer them like they were Matterall talking about gold ammo.
Like you haven't hammered
quarter.
me the last 2 years?
No quarter.
You kind of bring it on yourself though sometimes, because you guys are going back and forth. I feel like you set it up ahead of time in PMs or something.
Shit, he figured it out.
All that being
10
said,
clicks on open comms.
the other thing that got released today, and God bless CCP for putting out news for the weekend, kind of news cycle and thing like that. Later, press. Was Forsaken Fortress, which is coming on the 26th of May. And by the way, I lost total fucking time. I thought that was 2 days from now.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, I'm like, does that not come out next Tuesday? And
No,
nope,
seriously.
it does not.
I'm not gonna lie.
Time matters not right now, and I can't tell when days are going slow, when they're going fast, and when they're going backwards.
I immediately logged in. I didn't even look to see what time it was. I immediately logged in, asset safetied over 30 stations of all my stuff from that I've collected from 6 years of fucking
Getting ahead of the game.
I'm like, I haven't been in this station. I was like, how do I have assets here? I have tons of assets in GE TAC in Brave space. I've never been in Brave. I've never been in GE TAC docked. So I have no idea how I have that stuff there. But asset safetied it. No idea what it is, but it's assets.
I don't think I have too much stuff spread. Whenever I have stuff spread over, every so often I just go through my asset list and I look at everything and all the places that are not where I live, and I'll look at it and be like, is it valuable? Am I ever gonna want to go there and get it? If the answer is no, right click to trash it. And if it is,
so that's a good method.
If it is, then it's okay, maybe I'll fly over there and just remote fire sale contract it and someone will buy it around there. I don't know, but I hate having stuff all over space that I don't use.
I love it. There's always a time when me and a fleet will be out flying, fighting bad guys, and oh, we have to run. And then someone's like, I don't have probes. How are we gonna get home? And then I'm like, search assets, probe, 2 jumps, probe launcher, and 8 probes. I'm like, hey guys, I have a probe launcher 2 jumps away. We should go grab it. They're like, yeah, Rain, let's do it. And then I rescue everyone from having random ships or mods or who the fuck knows random places.
But the big news, I think, and there may be something in here that I, kind of missed or didn't give a fuck about or whatever, is the fact that they're coming up with a way of, so low power structures. How did I phrase this? I'm just going to read off my shit. Low power structures that have not consumed any fuel from service modules in 7 days will enter a new state that is called the abandoned state. When in abandoned state, structures will have no reinforcement phase and can be destroyed in 1 session. They will have no tethering capability and no asset safety. That's the big fucking takeaway from this, right?
Right.
That like all this
So
space
I just
junk
want to
out
point
there.
out one thing.
It's about
just
time.
want to point
is
out
all I
one
got to
thing that
say. This is a great thing.
look, Brisk has been ranting about this and going on the Meta Show, and the whole time he's ranting about it, everyone on the CSM knows exactly what's coming. And it
They're
finally
just
gets
laughing
released
at
today.
Brisk.
And it was fucking hilarious to watch him like pound the fist as like a pillar of his campaign for CSM, and then everyone in the CSM knows exactly what's going to drop and how hard we work to put this together. So I have to just, I wish he was here to hear me mock
Yeah,
him.
I know.
It
And
was
he just like
hilarious.
bailed out after that.
He's in
It's
the
like,
chat.
because all he
There he
cares
is right
about
there.
because all he cares about is CSM. But
Like any good politician, he's already taken credit for it.
Yeah, exactly. He's already taking credit for it. I take no responsibility, but I take the fucking credit.
I love it though.
This is the big takeaway from this, right? The fact that they have, and for all you people who were screaming about, low power and, no asset safety and stuff like that, they had to, because remember, when you actually go through the normal, sort of reinforcement process, right? It does get down to, it goes into low power anyway. So they had to create a new state to be able to do this asset safety thing, because asset safety doesn't apply to this. No asset safety thing doesn't apply to if you go and attack, let's say, I don't know, the 1DQ Keepstar and actually burn it down, right? Like, it's eaten its fuel in the last 7 days.
It's only it's only abandoned structures.
Right. It's
I didn't say I wasn't going to keep listening. I just said I was going to leave the chat.
We dragged you the fuck back in.
He couldn't resist my taunt. He couldn't resist. He just like fell for the bait. It was
I
awesome.
have been slamming my shoe on the fucking podium about this for 2 goddamn years. So I am very happy that it happened. And I give all the credit in the world to the guys that made it happen. This CSM and the devs who listened.
You're making poor fucking Drayden have to edit the shit every time you come back to comms. Every single time.
It's fine. He's not doing anything else.
I didn't edit it the last time he came in, so no, I actually did, but it's fine.
I personally am super excited. There is some other points that for the sake of, I don't know who all watches it, what the demographic of the people who watch this show is. Just for a shout out, if you have no idea, you cannot figure out if a structure is started to go low power unless you own that structure. So if your corp doesn't have a relay or something set up that says, hey, XYZ structure in this system has gone low power, then you will never know. And there's a good chance if you don't do what Rain did and not evac, but like asset safety, the shit you'll never ever use, you're going to start missing some stuff here soon. So I would very much recommend.
And I will say, because I've had my stuff in I think it was like a wormhole structure of some sort, and like I remember like I had like I think I flew in the wormhole, if I remember correctly. I flew in the wormhole with a friend, left like a frigate there, and then logged out and potted myself home. And then like 6 months later, like someone linked me this random kill mail of me having a Tristan in a wormhole, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't die. And they're like, well, Rain, the kill mail's here. And like I looked it up, I was like, who the fuck is doing this? And like that's when the whole putting, delivering assets and then blowing them up and like creating
that's
so
that's love. They love you.
Yeah, but like I was super confused. Like no, because that was legitimately my asset. But I've had the same thing before with asset safety. Like I just get a random notification that says, "Hey, your assets in X system have gone into asset safety," and I said. Well, I was like, what assets? I have no idea what the fuck that is, and like you can't search for it when it's an asset safety. You have to wait till it's in the little fucking package, and even then, searching for it's really fucking difficult. BT does, if you guys didn't know.
I do want to comment on what Bunny was saying, and as well as what Araya is saying out there. Araya sat there and said, biggest complaint I've seen today is lack of notifications on this change.
So
and what's that?
That's literally what I was just complaining about. But yeah,
well,
you have no idea.
There is a little bit over a month. Okay, perhaps what can go into this change occurring, okay, are improved communications and notifications and things like that, right, about when your shit goes into low power, all that kind of stuff, so that you can take care of it. Because look, as long as you re-online that shit, it goes back into full power.
Yep.
Or even just a notification sitting there going, yo, shit's abandoned.
That would be
notifications should be a thing, like before they do this. Yeah, and again, for all those people celebrating asset safety, like going away, remember, it's only in these bullshit structures.
Hold on a second. If you you can only drop a structure if you've got corp roles to get to drop structures.
Yeah, but you can dock like so.
But
Think
then
of all
you
the
get the
free-ported
notifications
stuff.
when they're low fuel.
You can dock and leave stuff
Yeah,
anywhere
but-
for delivery.
yeah.
Yeah, you could if maybe it's a free port or
I mean, I
Right.
guess if you put stuff in somebody else's Citadel.
well,
Some
that
of us
happens
live
all the
other
time. I
places,
mean,
Brisk than in Nullsec.
Hey,
got
I mean, I
shit
can
in Horde
I can see
Citadels,
that
got
in,
shit
I can see it in
in
other places with free
PL
ports and stuff like
I don't
that.
know
But
about PL, I mean,
So are we concerned about communicating the change to the community, or are we concerned about actual in-game notifications? 'Cause
In-game-
those are two different
I was
things.
thinking
in-game
in-game
notifications,
mail,
right?
Like like an in-game mail that gets sent to you like in the
Letting people
notifications
know,
mail.
letting people know that of this change, or just in general with structures.
I
well,
thought it was more about notifications to the people who are responsible for making sure that their structure is in the operating order that they want it to be. Like anytime these things
Those
happen, there
folks
should
get
be a
those.
notification that comes
I
out.
thought-
that's
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
those
Those
folks
okay,
get
all right,
those
all right.
already. You
So I get
low power
notifications all the
notices.
time.
So you
with
as
all my
a
fucking
you
shit
as a
from low
rank,
power.
you as a rank, kind of member of thing. No, you're not going to get those notifications. So you have to trust in your leadership, which
Dirk.
is like part of the whole thing.
If you have structure controls, if you're the person responsible for fueling the shit, then you're going to get notices.
You're
saying
missing-
you need
but
to
you're
we're
fuel.
missing
talking
what he's
about
talking about.
We're talking
The
about the
average
people that
dudes
have
that are-
stuff in that
Yeah.
station that don't
Yeah.
have access to
Yeah,
the
like
controls.
me, where I dock up a
Your
ship.
line pilots that
But
have
Uh,
shit stored
that
there.
I
And I
understand,
leave
but
it,
that's
and I
I mean that's
forget
the
about
case.
it.
You don't get that now. I mean, if somebody
Right.
blows up,
Right.
But
if somebody's
that's
attacking
the
a
thing, though.
Citadel and you have a clone in there, the only notice that you get is that your clone's destroyed.
Right, but the
But-
difference is
but that's
now
the
your
point.
assets will
Yeah.
drop instead of going into safety.
But that's what we're talking about. So Bunny said, you got to do what I did, where I logged in and I immediately asset safetied everything that I wasn't living in, because I don't own any of the structures I have assets in. For example, like I lived in Delve like the first 2 years I played this game, and so I have stuff there from probably an outpost that was owned, and so now it's probably owned by Goons. So if Goons does anything to it, whether they kill it themselves, let it die, just unanchor it in general, I lose I lose
Jinx DC,
access
exactly.
to those assets. Or
Is that going to be the new Freeport scam? Blowing up your own stuff,
Blowing up
to
your
see
own
what
shit
other
to
people
like
put in
Potentially.
it?
I mean,
to
why
loot off
not?
motherfuckers.
You have a keep star in Lowsec that somehow all these assets get to from people who had to evac the north.
Calling it right now, Amamaki.
Or no, I guess it wouldn't be a keep star.
Amamaki Hydra
Well, I think that's
Citadel
I think
Yeah.
that's
is gonna-
hilarious.
Is gonna get just think of all the money they'll get from looping that.
Like,
Well,
hey, guys, give
but
us
But-
fuel.
so,
your
part
guns
so,
you're
are
missing-
so
gone.
what Rain
It's
is
the
kind of
people-
proposing is notifications to people who have stuff in a lockbox at a place that the landlord there has not kept up their fire insurance and shit. Like
Yeah,
that.
so I
So
mean,
maybe
and
it
I
should
mean-
be like every day you log in, and if you have assets in something that's abandoned, you get a notification. Bing! You have
Nah.
assets in an abandoned structure.
Or just send
No,
a mail.
just
That-
don't
that
leave
shit
your
is
shit
gonna
out
get
there.
turned
Fucking
off
asset
so
safety it
fast.
now. Just asset safety it now. Asset safety it when you
Yeah, do it
fucking should
now.
have. Get it the fuck out. Let it go to a goddamn low sec station. You don't have to fucking worry about it. Just
And-
quit letting it sit in a place where they should have cleaned out your locker
Yeah.
anyway.
And like,
I'll-
and
I'll
like
let
my
it sit.
How about
comment
just
was,
know where you keep your shit? Pay attention. I mean,
So my
Right,
comment
that's-
was
yeah,
on
clean
all
your
of
crap
this,
out.
right? So like CCP initially didn't have asset safety because if you're a player like so let's say like PL and NC getting kicked out of like Tribute or whatever, right? If you go AFK and like let's say you're out on a work meeting for like a month or you have to go do X, Y, or Z and like you just can't log in, like CCP thought it wasn't fair. And to be fair, it's not fair for you to just magically lose all your stuff because you couldn't log in for a month, which is fair. And so like my concern is now, so like let's say like I have to go on a work trip for two weeks, which has happened to me before, where I've had barely any time to prepare. Like I pack a suitcase, text people, "Hey, I'm out for 2 weeks," and then I'm gone. And then a structure goes low.
Is that really
power,
Iron Bank out
goes
there?
abandoned,
Yeah.
and then it's kicked.
What up,
Or
Iron?
then-
So-
then I
When
lose all
did
my stuff.
asset
So,
safety
like,
I hear
come
you.
in?
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Rain.
Was it
So
with
I
the
think,
original Citadel
Yes.
expansion?
But what were you saying, Dunk? Yeah, it was. with
so
the-
most of the structures that people commonly use and that groups use are fueled not a week in advance. They're fueled months in advance. So the commonly used structures are gonna you can come and go, that kind of thing. It's going to be truly there is a tremendous amount of what you would consider abandoned structures where they're in low power, and that for someone to come back 3 times to try and kill it and then get nothing as a reward, there's no incentive to clear this stuff.
Well, it's
So the
2 times,
goal
right?
is
It's 2 times for low power, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
It's still
So-
a week. Still takes.
But still, there's no reward at the end. There's no incentive other than like you get a kill mail, which only goes so far. So I think the concern over can I put myself in my alliance's Keepstar and go away for 2 weeks, probably not real unless somehow they're not fueling their structures and don't intend to refuel them.
Yeah.
I think that's things, but I think you guys haven't even tapped into the amazing amount of scams that's going to go on in HiSec, where people are going to make structures and get people to dump their stuff in there and then intentionally abandon them and then blow them up on their alts. Like there's gonna be some crazy ass shit that goes down. It's just there's new emergent gameplay there's gonna be emergent gameplay coming out of this. Like I don't think
I'm
we
looking
even
forward to it.
You also have to consider though, because once they go low power, you can't use services. So a lot of stuff in HiSec of people like, oh, I want to build XYZ blueprint. I'll just do it at this random ass structure, and then they go in and do it. If they log in every day and they're paying attention, they're gonna notice those services go. But if they're one of the few who's like, oh, like I'll do it, and then I'll go fly to another structure, and then like they have like this routine where they go all across space, they're gonna start losing shit. Those are going to be very easy targets. But yeah, like for my example, and like a lot of us, especially I think all of us are just nullsec nerds, like we should, and generally, ideally, well, yeah, LB's in a wormhole. He doesn't have to deal with it.
No, NPC
Yeah, but the
nullsec.
nullsec nerds are
Hashtag
going to get
make
a
great
chance
wild
at
on Twitter.
random loot
Oh.
pinatas when they go on roams. This is fucking great.
Yeah, but like for most of us in null, ideally like 1DQ isn't gonna go, first of all, low power, second of all, not abandoned. Same with like I'm staged in LXQ right now, or my home station of NSI, or initiative space or whatever. Like we really don't have to worry. It's more of the folks who like go AFK for long periods of time, but for some reason they're at some staging area.
So
or
now
they live out of random
so now it's just possible
let me bring up the thing.
The random, not random, but the anomaly, the person who does all of a sudden go AFK for 6 months without any notice at all, might get screwed by this.
Yeah,
but there's
whatever.
such a low number of people. You can't make
no,
rules for
there's
them,
probably
you know?
a lot of single man corpse out there and stuff like that maybe that happens to or whatever. But like one of the things that I heard today are the people that go in there and they drop a fucking Astra Hoos in there, and it's like it's always low power. Because they're not willing to fuel it. They don't have fucking modules in it. They're just using it as a staging location and shit like that. And after 7 days, boom, that thing goes into abandoned mode, right?
Yep.
And they're saying that is now not. It's like, motherfucker, please. It's like we fueled
some
pauses for
fucking fuel.
goddamn years. It's like just
what I
fuel your
said-
shit.
What I have said over and over again is one of the biggest problems in the game is conflict drivers and having excuses to go blow stuff up. Asset safety stops that from happening because it doesn't provide any financial incentive to blow this shit up. And frankly, and what I've said before, and I'll say it again, and I know people don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it anyway, the game needs to prioritize the people who are actively playing it to the people who are not logging in. Sorry. Yeah, it should be content for people that are playing the game. I know they want to get new players to come back if they've left, and that's great, but why should that be at the expense of the people actually playing?
There does have to be a balance for the idea of people may kind of like leave the game for a break or something like that, and make sure that their assets are not. But if you're leaving the game for a known break, if you're leaving the game for kind of a long-term thing to where like the people who are in charge of dealing with that are just going to collapse and your shit's going to go abandoned.
Like this change is only going to make it easier to clean out the roach motels and the little structures left behind when you glass a region.
Correct.
That's what it's going to change. If the Citadel, you have your
there
shit
will be
staging,
collateral damage. There will be collateral damage, but
I fully understand that there will be, but it's not going to be to the extent that we need to not do this, which I think is the thing that I saw.
The reason I brought
Sullen
it up
and
is
some
I
other
wanted
people
to
on the
hit
forum saying they
hit the
shouldn't do it
hey.
because of the potential people that are going to get deployed and won't be able to fix this. But I think that those are edge cases, and they can maybe figure something out for that, like a way to inform CCP via email or something. Hey, I've been deployed. Can you lock my stuff out or exempt me from this or whatever?
Well, the patch note says as long as a module consumes fuel, it will go back into low power mode, right?
Right.
So you can go 6 days abandoned, and on the 7th day, throw in, or 6 days low power. On the 7th day, throw some fuel in there, run it for a day, it'll go back into low power. And that you can keep that cycle going perpetually forever.
If it hasn't consumed fuel in a module in the past 7 days, that's when
We'll
it
go
hits
into
abandoned.
abandoned.
Now, all of a sudden, you sit there, you jack in another freaking few days of fuel, right? Like, yes,
Yep.
you can
Yeah,
continue
but
to
it's not.
extend that.
It's not that simple, right? As someone who
Right.
fuels a lot of
You got to
structures
have
and
roles
online,
to do that.
you have to fly out there. You have to fucking take control, and you got to click a button every time you want to do something like that. Like it's a
But-
pain in the ass. And
Yeah.
And you have
if
to
you
be on the
think you're
ACL.
saving any ISK or anything by doing like, I'm going to flip it on for one day and then I'm going to fly out and flip it off to save like 4 million in fuel blocks. Like, I don't know what your gameplay style is then.
You
Like,
can
it's
either
just
have
not
a
worth
dead
it.
stick, you can either have a dead stick pause out there, or you can, I don't know, make the fucking pause shields come up again.
I just
by,
don't
like, putting
understand the
steel
point.
in
The
it.
edge-
If
the edge
you're-
case
if you're a
scenario
one-man
of
corp where
Buddy
everything,
stores all
why would
his
you even
shit-
have the structure? Just put your stuff in a station and nobody can touch it.
Right.
That's the thing that like this is the thing that drives me crazy. They bring asset safety in because of Citadels. Prior to that, there was no asset safety. If you were in an outpost and you got locked out of it, your stuff was sitting there and there's nothing you could do. You could fire sale it, or you could pray that maybe someday you'd get control of that system again. That was how it was for the vast majority of the time that EVE has been in existence. This asset safety thing is 3 or 4 years old. So I don't think it's that huge of a deal to change it at this point.
The argument that people made, and trust me, don't get me wrong, I am very, very for this change. I think that I'm about to go kill a whole lot of stuff that people forgot of, and I might make some money off it. But the argument that somebody made whenever I was arguing with them today was even back in the day, whenever your stuff got outposts, stations, and it was dead zoned, you could still fire sale that stuff. You know what I mean? Well, not necessarily if it was dead zoned, but if somebody else owned that station, you could still fire sell it. Your modules and ships never went anywhere. They were still in the game. It's not like you lost it. They just, you just didn't have access to them, which is, I could see that argument, but I don't think it matters. Ultimately, it's the game will adapt. You will stop storing large amounts of garbage in other systems, or you'll lose it. I don't really think it's a huge problem.
You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
What
That's
I should
right.
have done is left
But-
all my cat boosters and not asset safety that. Man,
But what will change, thankfully, is all these fucking structures that sit on the edges of space, and there's no reason to grind them when they're low power. But it's an instant. Ultimately, the only difference between a low power and a high power structure is somebody has to put fuel in and turn a module on, right? So if you drop some nonsense on the border of catch or or the drones or fucking 1DQ, or not on 1DQ because it'll die, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, you
On
could drop it
the
there,
edge
no?
of edge of empires, and no one just gets around to fucking killing it. That's a staging system that somebody's gonna have as soon as they just pop in some fuel blocks and online all that stuff. So.
There you go. Isn't that the way it should be, though?
Oh yeah, I think all that shit should die. I can't wait to see all the low power nonsense that dies in the week after patch day.
I'm not even a high sec guy, but
This
I
is
almost
kind of
wish
like
that-
this is kind of like an uptick to like when they even like created low power, right? Like there was a bunch of shit that fucking died, and
I almost wish that you didn't even have to war deck to shoot an abandoned structure in high sec. Just
That'd be
allow
cool.
that whole Operation Clean Sweep or whatever you want to fucking call it. Just clear out all. I mean, if you abandon that shit in high sec, if it's abandoned, it's not owned by any sovereignty, and therefore Concord shouldn't give a shit who shoots it. In my
Can
opinion.
somebody translate what Carneros just said for me? I have a bias as someone who used to be responsible for the sales funnel for EVE. This affects the sales funnel in a negative way. It has benefits too, but I'm sensitive to the funnel challenges.
Derek, what he's saying is that you always want to be able to get players to come back to the game.
Oh, okay.
And if
'Cause he
somebody
used
thinks
funnel
that
in
they're
there, okay.
losing all the stuff that they have, why would I
But
come
they're
back?
not
I've
though.
lost everything.
Like honestly, if all your shit, because I am also sensitive to that whole idea of like, where is your cache of like unlimited goods and all that kind of stuff, right? Like if it's honestly in something that you don't have faith in your organization keeping up fueled and that kind to where it's like you may have lost it anyways. If you're gone for that long, you may have lost it anyways. If you're gone for a period of time because it went into this abandoned mode, then shit, where the fuck did everybody go while you were also gone?
And I think very niche circumstances will cause people to lose their ass, but I don't think it'll be so common that this is going to be a game breaker. I'm excited. I think everybody else is pretty excited, except for the people who want to play this game on easy mode. Honestly,
Well,
Look, there's gonna be some like edge cases where people who get caught and that's gonna suck. But I think in the most part, in the majority case, It's going to be help clear Citadel spam. It's going to make these roach motels kind of be a difficult thing. I just, as a logistics person, again, we have another month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks of a lot of work logistics people have to do to either scoop stuff or fuel stuff or change our schedules and stuff like that, which one of these days I'd like the logistics people to get a carrot instead of a stick.
I do want to answer this question to Doc 10011. Dirk, how many one-man corps in HiSec will this affect? Honestly, if you're in HiSec, your shit should be in the thing that could never get destroyed.
Exactly.
And then only what you're willing to lose should be out in that structure thing.
Very rarely, unless you're purposely seeking out the systems in HiSec that don't have stations, then very rarely.
And even if they do, there's probably one in the system next door. It's
exactly. There's plenty of opportunity for those people to get their stuff safe, and especially now that the patch does not hit to the 21st of May, which is a month from now. You know what I mean? You can move your stuff into those stations. Just run. If you have to run your industry through them, then do it. Or if you have to, just don't leave all your stuff in.
Even for people, and take it out of HiSec. Even for people that live in nullsec. Even for people who live in nullsec,
that's true.
With an organization that they think is on top of making sure all the structures are like all that kind of shit. It's like, they got all their stuff in gear and all that. It's like, you've also got to think about the prospect of, wait a minute. Where is it exactly that I want to have big money just sitting there in this place? It's like, you've got to think about that too, but from a slightly different angle. Okay.
Yep.
But in HiSec, you've got a multitude of fucking choices for how you can genuinely secure your shit and not have to worry about that level of loss.
Also,
in the MOTD on my corporation, it has been the same for like 7 years, and it says, don't stockpile a lot of shit in random places. It's like a rule. Clean your shit out.
No, dude, I do that all the time.
I have stuff stored.
I dump all my stuff.
Half the time I open my
CCB
assets,
Convict. CCB Convict speaks the truth.
Gotta clean it up.
If you want to talk about pause feature parity, then here it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm just saying,
and this isn't even pause feature parity in a way, right? Like this is.
It is though.
It is. It is relatable.
If you have a fleet corp hanger in a pause and the shields go down, it gonna die. It's gonna be funny.
Can I ask an NDA question? Because we have CCP.
Yes, Omega.
Here. We have multiple CCP here. We have multiple CSM. When the fuck is POSCO getting deleted? Someone leaked it to me like 2 years ago.
When they know it won't break everything.
Soon.
I heard randomly at Vegas, someone was like, "Hey guys, I heard POSCO's getting deleted soon." I'm like,
is that gonna be the new meme? Like shield slaves and shield slaves are a thing now?
And then like I waited, and then I'm like, was I getting lied to? Is this random fucking person who's like probably lied to me to like hype me up because I was so excited? And see, like chats even, they're like, yeah, remove them. They're never getting deleted. Like you guys are all arguing about it.
I think that they want to make sure that it's not intertwined with something else before they just hit the delete button.
Convict, log in, admin login, delete.
Yeah.
wait. I did that wrong. Admin login, backup files, delete. Do that.
So Strategic says, so if you have all your shit in one place and no ability to fuel it and it blows up, would you still play? And yeah, absolutely.
You still have your skills, right?
Yeah. It's just
if
stuff.
I logged in and I had none of my assets and all I had was ISK.
Dude, imagine that.
But
just
no,
logging
even if
in,
look, you can start. Here's the thing.
Starting over with an
the most important thing in this game is your character and the skills on the character. As long as you have your character and the skills on your character, you can make back whatever you lose. The whole point of losing stuff is you're going to lose things. That's why you're never supposed to fly anything you can't afford to lose. You're never supposed to get physically attached to stuff that you've got.
It's stored somewhere. You're not flying it. That's the point. Like, I don't undock with all my skins in my cargo, and I'm like, oh, guys, I'm not going to lose it. Like, I keep them in a fucking
if you lose
Citadel
shit, you lose shit.
I want to
it's
use
not
it
a big
later and
deal.
give it to someone.
The equivalent here is if you live in real life and you store your shit under a tarp in the woods, expect for you to be gone when you come back.
Why? Because
if you take your shit to a proper fucking self-storage place and lock it behind a door, it's probably going to be there when you come back. So don't keep your shit in the woods under a tarp. Put it in a fucking self-storage place.
In the grand scheme.
That's a great analogy.
What if I just dig
Citadels are not your garage. It's some guy with a tarp in the woods, and you're saying like, "Hey pal, can I keep my cat boosters under your tarp?" And he says, "Yeah, man. Put your shit under my tarp."
In the grand scheme.
Okay, maybe
in
that's
the
a
grand
carport.
scheme.
Maybe not a tarp, but a carport.
Someone shouldn't walk up and bust open the windows and steal my quarters. Like,
In the grand scheme of the changes they could have made to asset safety. Hold on. in the
That was
grand scheme of the
oddly specific,
changes
Ray.
that they could have made to asset safety, or allowing like these like bullshit ass fucking structures out there to eventually end up dying a little bit easier. This is kind of on the low end of the scale. They could have
Exactly.
pulled this asset safety shit across the entire goddamn scale of all structures, right?
Yeah,
When
I
it
agree.
dies, your shit's gone. Fuck
This
you.
is literally
okay?
the equivalent of just the tip for fixing assets.
This is just the tip.
Okay.
And hold on.
Just the
And
tip.
that being
Just the
said,
tip?
guess what? If you do get just the tip, you have to know that somebody wants some shaft too. Okay, so this may be this may
Here we
be
go.
just the first part of things, and we may see how that expands outwards.
Yeah.
Okay, or inwards, depending on how
We're
you
gonna
want to
go
take the
from-
whole tip analogy.
We're gonna go from just a tip to ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Whoa,
Quick.
whoa. Yeah, okay, but we don't know. But for right now, this is all right.
We'll just have to see how far it goes.
All thing I want to know is
Shot for
which
Dirk's
major
tip.
alliance is going to be the first one to
I hate when
screw
people say
up
just the
and
tip
have
because
one
like
go
nothing's
into
coming out.
abandoned
Nothing's
losing.
coming after that.
Dom, I agree. I can't wait to see who that's going to be
No,
because it's
usually
going to
a warning,
happen.
Dirk. It's like, oh, this is just the tip.
I mean,
get ready.
Can I
If
make
Mercenary
a guess? You guys
Coalition
wanna
can
take a guess?
accidentally forget to not unanchor a keep star and let us blow up the hauler that was carrying it,
Exactly.
you know somebody's going to mess up and not fuel something.
Do we
that's
do we
gonna
want
go
to
You know
take
what?
bets?
I got
Because
a
I'm gonna
shot.
say it's the Russians.
I'm doing a shot. Because this right here,
I will not take that bet,
Forsaken
Benny.
Fortress. Look, they named it the way that they did for a reason. The Forsaken Fortress. You forsook that shit.
Forsook.
What?
Forsook and
No,
It's a
for-
word.
for
It's all right.
forsook.
Let him go with it. Let him go with it. Whatever.
Yeah. No, forsook is no.
Was
you
it not
got-
forsook?
no,
Whatever.
Convict
I don't
goes
give a
No,
shit.
Dirk.
that's correct
Dirk for
terminology.
CSM
Forsook.
15.
Forsook.
His campaign slogan, just the tip.
I'm
This
stealing
is
it.
a
Just a
good
tip.
fucking measure. Okay, we can measure where it goes to
Are
from
we,
here.
how
Like,
are we
you know,
measuring?
We can either bury the red. Never
Uh-huh.
mind.
Yeah.
I'm done with this analogy.
No, no.
your pain or your enjoyment level, however you want to fucking measure it. It's like it's up to you. It's all an individual choice.
Yeah, sometimes the same.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not
All
the same.
choices.
See, it is forsook.
Yeah,
In.
I was saying
Forsooken?
is
No, forsook.
Forsook is
Forsooken?
the past tense.
You
Forsook.
forsook the fuck out of that.
Dukin.
It's the past tense of forsake.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be the
like
next.
smoked.
It's like Malketh said.
It's gonna be
the next person that
awesome for
forgot
a
to
little
pay
while
the
until
salt
people
bill.
figure it out, and then these things just fucking go away. Like
It's
The,
honestly, the
the
people
fun
who are
part is-
responsible deal with their shit.
I can't wait for a diamond rat to kill an abandoned structure. I want
Oh
to see
my
that
god,
shit.
it's gonna be fantastic.
Man, amazing.
See, is that how it should happen?
Imagine
Yes!
flying back to your
because then
structure
all
and there's
of
just a
the
bunch of
loot-
cans laying there.
All of
You're
the-
like, what happened?
No, because they
Because then all of the
disappear
loot
after a
just
day.
well, actually,
It's
the
still
loot
funny.
would sit there.
It would
Right?
still be there.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it's
would
gonna sit
expire
there.
after what
I
30
like
days
the
or
fact
whatever.
that this is going to eliminate a lot of just like literally abandoned citadels and the potential loot that people can get for it. Like good.
It'll get people in space,
Good.
which
It'll-
is the
it'll
best
get people-
part.
That's
the best
why
part.
it's
Imagine
good.
You know
like
what,
if an
it's-
FC says, "Hey, we're gonna go shoot a structure." It's abandoned. People will be like, "Okay, it's structure shoot," but at least
Dunk,
we can
I'm
just
proud
kill
of
it
you
in
with
one
your
shot.
Klondike bar.
At
That's
least we
great.
can kill it one shot, and maybe we'll get some shit. You get the whole gambling mentality going on. Rope people into fleet
Too
with
many people agreeing makes Matterall nervous.
What, that we like
Can
shit
I
dying
key up
and
while I'm
people losing
chewing for
stuff?
risk?
Why wouldn't we agree on that?
I'm not on the
talked
show,
about-
Dunk, so you can eat as much as
I
you
mean,
want tonight.
Matterall, we talked about like
Yeah, we
how
could
like
hear
you
him.
know the people who have
Is
to like,
Matterall here?
spontaneously go AFK.
Am I
he's
blind?
He's
we're
gotta
talking
hear.
in stations.
He was, yeah.
But like yeah, the people have to spontaneously go AFK and like they were in
All right,
either a
Spider.
random structure or like a forward staging base. Not
Where,
like a full
though?
Station. In Twitch chat, dude.
Am I fucking?
All right,
no,
I'm
I
officially
can't see
leaving
him.
again,
right above
so
CSP
you guys keep
Convict
talking.
and below
Yeah,
CSP
we
Darwin's
talked about
post.
Oh, it says talking in stations. Looking for Matterall.
Yeah.
I've
I
been
said I was
bamboozled.
talking in stations.
All that being said, I was over there. I've invited
Thank you,
Matterall
Spider.
in because
Have a good
Matterall's
night.
trying to do some talking in stations like fucking shit over there. I'm like, dude, just come over here. Like, grab yourself a fucking tea or something and just come over.
A
Quit
tea.
quit trying to do your shit with talking in stations right now. It's like disturbing me. Okay. All that being said,
It's good.
Like,
I'm glad.
hold on.
We're gonna see people in space.
can we do a
It's
thumbs
good
up
for
on
wormholes too. Wormholes like it.
for those of you who are on camera? It's like, can we do a thumbs up as to whether or not we think this is a good move? Forget whether it's first or last or whatever. It's like, Rain, like, do you have a fucking thumb in your hand or like some shit?
I
Well, she
I
ain't
already
got
said I thought it
Dumpsterk.
was good.
But what?
Oh my god.
I'm using my hands.
So put your fucking thumb up.
I'm using my hands to play games, Dirk.
It's fine. She's her
For
virtue
those who's
thumbs
not
up.
lucky enough
It's
to
fine.
have thumbs,
She likes
I'll
it.
go thumbs up.
I'm using
I
my
think
hands
everyone-
and
I
not
think-
push to talk. It's
I think
like
we've
it's whatever.
always or already established that everyone in here is for this change.
I'm just impressed we got removal of asset safety before we got Logi on kill mail.
That was
removal of pause.
Everybody here
I
has
am too.
probably
I
always
agree,
been
Raid. I'm very
for
happy about that.
removing low-level structures that nobody has a fucking
Ah.
commitment to.
Yeah,
and honestly, if you have lured players into this game to be into something that you have no commitment to, then fuck their assets.
When I saw this change come out, and this was funny. I don't know if it was actually a joke or not, but when
Learn to pause, bitches.
So I think it was who was it said on Twitter or I forget who it was, but someone said that Convict was saving his announcement. Oh hey, Matterall's down the gulag. If someone could drag him. They're saying that
Matterall
Convict
Mobile
was
is down
saving
there,
the
though.
announcement of the
All right,
thing
Matterall
until
Mobile's
after
voice
the
is probably
talking
going to be shit, so
stations,
therefore he should
so that we
fix
could have
that.
it.
I was watching Talking Stations. They were like, "Is it out yet? Is it out yet?"
Yeah,
and they kept refreshing, and then no, it's not out yet.
When I saw
Maybe
the
we'll,
thing
maybe we'll
that
turn it off.
the
Then
you
it
could
came
just
out.
straight up kill a Citadel that was abandoned. I'm like, oh. And then when I saw that there was no asset safety for it, it was like an extra just on top of that. It was so good. I
There's an
enjoyed
audible
reading the
nut.
article.
I just heard. Anybody else hear that? I just heard an audible nut.
Yeah,
That's
that was
Yeah.
I think there was legit nut on that article.
You nut on the article?
I mean, yeah.
Don't print it out and jack off.
I was a little
That's why I
worried
read the
earlier
magazines.
because like
Easier
I
to
hadn't
clean a screen, Rain.
It's for the article.
I hadn't had
No,
the
it's
time.
not.
I hadn't had the actual time to
Jack
read
off a
the
paper and
to read
throw
the
it.
devlog. I only got what Rain put out as kind of like a synopsis
killing a
thing where
tree-
it was a quote thing. And like I thought this entire asset safety thing was related to like across the board. And I'm sitting there going, oh man, because I do worry about those people out there, who it's like, yeah, you go away for a little while and whatnot. But like then once I figured out it was just about this abandoned structure stuff, I'm like, oh no, fuck what I said. It's like honestly, it doesn't motherfucking matter. If you're with what is a temporary structure, or if you're with something that has been abandoned beyond your fuel running out, it is not just on your leadership. It is on you.
Yep.
Do you think
No more than the people that I had to move all their shit out of the pauses years ago. Okay, to like protect them.
Do you think CCP is gonna allow so let's say you're out doing whatever the fuck, right? Like you can't get to your PC for whatever reason. I think CCP is gonna allow folks to log in on their laptops or their phones and file a ticket that says, "Hey GMs, log into my account and asset safety everything because I can't." To avoid the whole account sharing, but also to avoid people getting screwed over.
You mean like normally over the years or like during the Rona times?
Like right now, so let's say you're
If some dude sat there and said, I had the Rona, I couldn't feel my
Are you gonna keep talking or you shut the fuck up and listen? And so you can't log in. So CCP is gonna say, you know what? File a ticket. Say, hey, I'm away. I can't do anything. Asset safety my stuff. And then they log in. And if you have stuff in a structure, regardless of where it is, they just say, okay, manually asset safety everything. So then that way, when you come, while you're gone, you can come back and still have all your stuff. Do you think they do that?
Can that be abused?
Couldn't
to
it?
be abused though.
Couldn't all this shit be abused by just putting a fucking sob story out there?
If the structure's already abandoned, it wouldn't count, right? So you can't wait 3 months and be like, oh no, my 1DQ keep star in my Titan, blah blah blah. You'd have to do it now or as you're leaving. Let's say you're jumping on the airplane and you're like, fuck, dude, I gotta tweet CCP to log into my accounts or whatever.
So if you're running a high sec corporation, let's say, and your shit is in abandoned state, and all of a sudden a notification pops up on your phone that says, in 24 hours, this war will be active. And you're like, uh-oh. Well, I could log in and fuel that structure, or I could log in and asset safety it, or I could just apply this ticket and then let them blow up that structure. Who gives a shit?
Is way more effort. And
I don't know.
I think if you're just gonna ride, if you, in that situation, if you know that your stuff's abandoned and that's just how you ride on it until you get a war deck thing, then you're running. I mean, if you're not gonna keep it actively fueled, then
right.
Too bad. I mean,
I don't know.
Did you guys consider what Carnero said earlier?
Yes, we did. We don't care.
Well, no, hold on. It's not about don't care, right? It's about being able to measure the effects of that. And I don't think this particular change here right now is the one that actually affects that, because this is pretty low level for anybody out there who is risking that kind of shit.
Because this only affects, like I said, the Roach Motels and the abandoned structures. If you got your shit in an abandoned structure, you're going to fucking lose it.
Right.
That's just the way it is. If your shit is in a keep star, one DQ,
they may not have known. They may not have known their shit
when
come
back in a year.
But it may have been low powered, or it may have been like you were in an organization that was in a highly deteriorating phase, anyways. And therefore, if you were living, there will be a degree of collateral damage, but not to the extent that if we were talking about these rules apply to all structures, period. Like, to be put into this position, you have got to have been gone for a long time. Okay. Like, and you have got to have been concerned about your organizational structure and the people that were there. Like, there will be collateral damage, but I don't think it's like, what it would be if they actually pass this out there across all structures.
One thing I want to mention. So Doc is saying 7 days is not abandoned, but honestly, you get more than that, because I haven't done much structure stuff. But how many days of fuel can you put into a Citadel to keep it fueled? Roughly, I know that depending on what modules are in there, it might be more or less. But what can you fuel, like 5 days to a week at a time? Like, if you fill it up,
It was a month.
I think you could do it like a year.
Really?
Someone was
You can
saying
put that
in
much in
some
it?
chats they were talking about putting a year's worth of fuel in a Citadel.
okay. Well, then at that point, it's until the fuel runs out, and then 7 days after that. Now, obviously, I mean, a year worth of fuel is probably more expensive than most people can afford. But
that can be worse for some people. You put it in, you forget about it, and then you miss an alarm or something, and you won't remember a week difference after a year.
If that's not the main Citadel, why are you staging your entire life's assets in that fucking Citadel? What are you doing?
Generally,
what are you talking about? I mean, people use Citadels for all kinds of reasons. You guys are approaching it from like one direction. There's lots of different reasons to have a Citadel.
Well, right, but you're approaching it from the same thing. One direction. I'm going to keep my shit here and then walk away from the game for a year and a half.
So let's look at the
and
other
then come
ones.
back.
People
and
do that.
Be
People take breaks on this game. It's a long burn. It's not
right.
But
you're not going to lose all your shit to an abandoned Citadel. You're not going to lose everything to an abandoned Citadel. You might lose that Orca you had, or that fucking
setbacks.
That travel scepter you had in whatever.
I mean, people losing their BP, their collections of BPOs is a big deal.
Then why did you have that in a fucking Citadel that you weren't gonna?
I've done protect
because that's what CCP was encouraging. They want us to move into destructible situations.
I've moved my.
Well, it wasn't that CCP was just like encouraging that. People out there were saying more shit needs to be like destructible.
Hold on.
It's a good point, right? It's a good point that Matterall brings up. I think the reality is, for frequently used things, and especially bigger things, Fortizars and above, they're going to stay fueled, right? If there's an industry structure somewhere, you've put your blueprints, you've put it there for a reason, because you think it's a group you can trust, aren't fly by night or whatever. And so as long as the structure remains in use, nothing changes as far as asset safety. It's only if someone who oversees that structure makes the decision, I'm not going to fuel it anymore, and lets it go so long that it becomes abandoned, that there's any risk. So I hear what people are saying, and there is going to be some people who did it, but it's not going to be the average. Everybody's Fortizars are going to get blown up, and then everyone's going to lose their stuff.
So we're talking about the edge case, rare scenario where very little gets lost, and that's
it's not that rare. And you know what? People park supers on top of these Citadels and then walk away, and they may have parked it on a friend's Citadel.
They can, but
they
again,
did that on
in that
back
case,
in the day too.
Wait,
You did it on
exactly.
back in the day.
And you know what we always
back
did back in the day, Matterall? You know what we always did back in the day? If we were gone for a while and whatever, be like, yo, that shit's safe. Like you get back into communications comms kind of like thing before you actually just log your super.
These are assets. These are assets that are inside the Citadel, right? So if a super is tethered to an Astra house and you go away for a while, when you come back, even if that Astra house is gone, your super's not gone, right? It's going to land. Well, the tether's gone, yeah, but then just like you would check, just like in the past, if you had a POS, you had to check if that POS where your super lived was still there before you logged in.
If you got a super, don't tell me you don't have an ult that can't fly up to the POS and check whether or not the shields are open.
Look, they're valid concerns, right? But again, no structure in EVE is permanent that players own, right? So you can have a Fortizar that's your main staging Fortizar, and then you put in a keep star, and then that main staging Fortizar is no longer valuable to you, and you may want to unanchor it. Now, a player may have logged off stuff in that station. That's what asset safety does, right? It makes sure that that player who left 2 years ago before you unanchored a Fortizar, their stuff doesn't disappear. It's a controlled thing that happens.
And what happens
So-
when we unanchor a Fortizar? It gets asset safety, right?
Right, as long as it's
Just
powered all the
clarify.
way to the
Sorry.
end, which
Carry on.
is what
A question.
is what
A question did come up today. A question did come up today about whether or not somebody unanchors a something that is in abandoned state. Does it's unanchored? Does that actually put that stuff into asset safety, or does it just jettison it into space?
That's a good
Because it's
question.
not killed.
I wonder.
So in a wormhole, when you unanchor something and there's shit in it, all that stuff falls out.
Oh.
Well, when you unanchor a structure, even if it's low power, when you unanchor it, if you successfully goes to the end of its unanchoring timer,
Right.
anything that was in it goes into asset safety.
Right,
I
right,
don't
right.
believe that is changing, because that structure probably wouldn't be considered abandoned in that case. The only time things drop is if an abandoned structure is exploded and killed.
Right.
That's when
So
it drops.
what happens to free ports in this situation? What happens to free ports if
could
somebody
become
decides?
scam
So
cities.
if
They
if
want
free
to
if
Hey,
if free
Matterall,
ports
can I
if free
give you a
ports
hint?
go to
Don't jump
abandon,
a free
Get
port.
ready to adjust the cameras. CCP Spider has to go. So
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. Spider, before you have to go, I've been wanting to ask this question all night long. What do you think about the development process that went into this entire, kind of like Forsaken Hood shit?
The Forsaken what? I'm sorry.
The Forsaken Fortress. Like, do you believe that the development process here was, like when you were in the middle of a dev meeting making Forsaken Fortress changes?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I only heard about that.
And by the way, I don't expect you to answer that question because that was a joke based on what you told us earlier about how like you're not actually a freaking like make shit happen dev.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but I mean I heard about this when I was snooping in on the CSM minutes. I don't know, man. I feel kind of excited for it. I mean, all things considered, I mean, whether it's my alias in nullsec or it's my alias in highsec, I feel like it's gonna be fun stuff,
Were the
Yeah, I'm
CSM
gonna have
fighting
fun with
like
it.
cats and dogs?
I do want to very quickly throw this shot out to CCP Spider, who is here once again. Okay, he didn't just come here last week to shave his head or give a
Just coming to hang out.
low plex amount. Coming to hang out. Okay, CCP devs are out there amongst the shows and whatnot, trying to reach out to the community and whatnot, which I really want to fucking applaud because I think it's outstanding. Okay, not all of them are
All
going to
right,
be
thank
there
you,
to answer
Spider.
your questions.
Thank you, Spider.
Yeah,
I
thank
know,
you,
Love
I know
you.
you have to go.
Okay.
Have a good night, dude.
See you,
Love
man.
love what's going on up there. With all
Catch
the
you guys
people.
around.
See you, man.
Drain, you ready to adjust cameras?
Yeah, I'll do it since he's. I have to wait for him to bail, and then I can move the other ones.
All right.
Well, my point was just to throw some scenarios out there that might be interesting to think about. That's why I wanted to get on here.
Yeah, man.
It's not,
There are
it's not
scenarios that we
everything
should be
is all
thinking
good.
about.
They're good points. It's just that the thing that has to be understood is the structure owner has to literally abandon the structure, not fuel it, let it go into that state for this risk to happen, right? And if you're in a structure where the owner doesn't take care of it, it's probably not a structure you're a part of. So you have to ask yourself, at this point, you have a month notice, should I be keeping things in a structure that's not controlled by somebody I know what's going on with? And yes, there's people that have gone away for 2 years. They may put stuff in an Astra house 3 years ago. But if we get too hung up on never having a negative effect, we can't move anything forward.
Agreed. I've been worried about the people who are just lazy-minded. Okay, the blind who don't read anything and hear anything. Okay, and the fact of the matter is that you know what? Honestly, if your shit is in one of these structures, you've gone way beyond those things. You're not just lazy and blind. Like you're literally not playing anymore, and therefore your mass of wealth never should have been in one of these places to begin with.
Here's one more thing. Like, that our junk being all over the cluster kind of shows us where we've been and what, the drakes that I have in Tenerife's remind me of that era that I was there with Nelly Segunda and stuff. And so that's for us at NBC stations.
Secunda.
Segunda. I always call it Segunda.
Yeah, but it's not Segunda. It's Secunda. It's a C.
If you speak Spanish, it's Segunda.
Segunda forever.
Anyway, the point is that there's like other dimensional aspects to it. Like, where was I? What's my history? What reminds me of things? And these memories can get wiped out very quickly. Right? They're going to get wiped out.
I don't deny that. I look at some shit in a station and be like, when the fuck was I there? Because they got asset safety. It's
like old pictures.
Yeah, it's not like out in the old days where it's like, oh yeah, I got that shit out there in that fucking station in Nullsec or whatever the hell it is, right? It's like, how did I get to, like, I don't know, having battleships in Podion and whatnot? It's like, don't know. I don't fucking know. Oh shit, what was that close to? Hold on, what shit got fucking destroyed? My shit got asset safetied.
Hey, Drayden, I'm going to be logging off soon, so don't fix my camera.
Okay.
Dude, I want to fix your camera
fine.
so much. Actually, Dunk, I want to ask this question right now. What's it going to take for you to shave your fucking hair for us to give some Plexa good?
No way am I doing
Come
that,
on,
dude. I have
come
so
on,
little hair.
motherfucker.
I have so little
Listen
hair
to me.
as it is. I'm not
Hold
fucking
on.
shaving my
It's
head.
not little hair that
There's
you
all kinds
have.
of scars and marks
know,
up there.
I know.
You don't want to. I don't
And
want
the
to do
world
that.
wants to see that for the good of
No,
the
they
world.
don't. It doesn't matter what any of you think.
Just remember,
Mrs.
for the
Dinkle
good of the
doesn't
world.
want that.
I have a
No.
beekeeping question.
No. Yes, go ahead. What's your beekeeping question?
Why do you get
I
stung
saw
by
this.
bees?
I saw this crazy hive on YouTube, the Flow Hive. Have you ever seen this thing? What do you think of that thing?
Well, the flow hive is very interesting. It makes it very easy to harvest the honey if you get to that point, but it doesn't make it any easier to actually keep the bees and deal with the mites and all the stuff you have to deal with. So
There are
I
mites
don't
with
want people
bees?
to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a
There's
huge
mites on
problem. The
everything.
varroa
fuck?
mites. Yeah.
Fucking
They wipe
mites,
them
man.
out.
You know what? Nobody likes fucking mites. It's like even the name is like nobody likes that shit.
Dirk,
They eat
don't you
their
watch my
wings.
TikToks? Don't you eat my TikToks?
Dude, I do watch some of your TikToks, but like not all of them. So it's like I may have skipped.
I had a big problem with my white hive of the 3 hives I have, where the varroa are attacking. I've been fighting every
Well,
day.
he has them
and
segregated.
It's not
Yeah,
segregated.
the green hive, the blue hive, and the white hive. Yes,
Jesus.
it's very racist.
The green hive was doing fine. What about the green hive? Nobody talks about the green hive.
No, the green hive. There's no queen. There was a new queen that got virgin queen that's in there now,
The
and I
green
have to check
queen?
tomorrow. Well,
Do
I
you
don't
call
know.
her
This
the
is
green queen?
No, because that's not the year of all the queens have a little dot on the back that tells what year they are, and clearly we're in the blue dot year for queens, not the green dot year for queens.
Yeah, Dirk, wake up.
Wild.
Why the fuck am I not up on this shit? It's like, goddamn.
Dude, I've been
pretty
watching.
So
I gotta get over. I gotta
drama,
get over in
the
the
drama
right
from
Reddit
last
channel or
weekend
It was in
was
the bee devlog.
yeah. The drama from last weekend was I'd been out there for like 2 hours doing stuff, and then I did something stupid. I didn't have my glove on my hand, and they stung me on my right hand, right on my ring finger where I used to have a ring, and I didn't take my ring off right away. So then my finger started to swell up, and if you let your finger swell up too much when you have a ring on it, you can get like gangrene on your finger. So I had to go to the fire department. They had to cut my fucking ring off.
Dude.
Whoa.
Now I gotta ask 2 questions.
Why not just
number
have
one,
your finger off?
number one, how painful was your finger? And number 2, how mad was your wife?
Well, question number 1, it wasn't that painful. They're just bee stings, right? Like I'm not that. It doesn't bother me that much. It's just that my finger swelled up. And then Mrs. Dinkle was not upset because she just gets to go shopping again for a new ring for me. This is the second time they've had to cut a ring off my finger. And so last time she was excited to buy me a new ring. Now she's showing me
How
rings
many
at
times you gotta
Tiffany's.
get a fucking ring cut off your finger? What the fuck? What is
Yeah,
this? Hold on,
let's
hold
hear
on.
about story time number
hold on.
one.
At this point, I'm blaming that finger.
When did you do that with students?
Well-
it's like
when they
it's like
started
you're Tim Allen going to the hospital with your ring finger dunk. Holy
You
shit!
just rocking
Yeah,
out
exactly.
with no glove on.
It-
That's
yeah.
probably the
It's
stupid
like,
thing.
yeah.
So the
be
first
careful.
time was when I was in a bike race and I crashed and I broke my collarbone and my left arm and my back, and all the blood in my right arm went down into my hand and it swelled up, so I had to cut it off then. That's when I had 2 broken arms.
That sounded like a
And
serious
then-
event. This
Jeez.
whole B thing, I think you're just playing off.
So, well, hold on. Rain, did I turned you up, Rain? You sounded a
The
little
finger
quiet.
wanted
when I
more
turned you up.
attention.
Why?
Don't turn Rain up. What the fuck?
Well,
Yeah,
no,
turn
She
her
just
up.
wanted to know what did I do to make the
No,
bees
what?
mad?
She was
why
on
did you
6.5
do
by
that?
means.
No, she was
So
fine the whole
the
show. Now
bees-
she's just like half volume she used to be. I don't know why.
Kidding, Rain.
So the
Rain,
reason the
Rain.
bees are
Kidding,
Kidding,
mad
Rain.
is
Don't
is
get all
when
fucking freaked out like this is an alliance tournament conversation.
Rain, I know why. Your microphone's like this
The
up
reason-
on your face. You gotta pull it down. by
It's
your mouth.
always been like that.
Oh.
Go on, Doug.
the reason the bees are upset is when there's not a queen in, and in this case there's a virgin queen, so she hasn't been on the mating flight, so she's not giving
Holy
the same
shit.
pheromone
Yeah.
out.
Worship
That
burn.
makes all the bees in the hive are super aggressive because they have to protect
Because it's a
her.
virgin queen. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
Everybody
So,
wants the
I'm not
virgin
making this
queen.
up. You can Google it.
Like right
So
now,
they're
I'd
very
fuck a bee if she was
aggressive,
a virgin
and
queen.
I was
Stop
dumb,
telling the story.
and I wasn't wearing my glove. I was like super confident because it had been 2 hours of this. My hands were all like pruned up from being in nitrile gloves. And I go, all I got to do is pull this vaporizer thing out of the beehive. And as soon as I pulled it out, the guard bees hopped out and they all stung my hand because they're like, get the fuck out, bear, because they think I'm some monster come to steal them. And that's why they were so mad at me.
I have a
Have you
question.
considered
for
a
you, though.
silicone ring instead of a gold or a metal one, like a silicone one?
That's not my choice. That's Mrs. Dinkle's
Um,
choice.
So I have a question. Like, how long have you been doing this beekeeping? Is this a new thing you've been doing, or have you been doing this for a long time?
A year?
About 2 years. But it's like a thing I'm gonna do it for probably the rest of my life. It's a thing that like
Of course you are. During
have
the
to
Rona
learn all
times,
these-
you're gonna like somebody's gonna have to make honey.
Yeah, and Stray has a good point. He's like, you are a monster that steals their honey. So I mean,
well, I also feed them all winter. I mean,
Yeah,
all
they
winter
don't know.
long.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
one
yeah,
out
yeah.
there taking care of them and making sure they're fed and everything's good. And then they get mad at me just because they got a virgin queen. You know.
Have you thought about putting gloves on or like putting some smoke out or whatever? And I don't mean like
I do all those things, and
I
it
don't
was
mean as
my
Mrs.
mistake.
Dinkle out there like blowing J smoke at them and shit. I'm like, I just mean like, you know. the
No,
whole
she
smoke-
walks down there walks down there with a J and she watches from a distance, but it's not enough to calm them down. So
Sedative.
How does J smoke work on bees?
not
Is that better than just your normal ass fucking like
no.
puff puff?
the smoke just makes the bees think there's a forest fire, and they go, holy shit, there's a forest fire. I better go inside and eat some honey because we might have to go. And so it calms them down, and they can't smell the alarm pheromone that says like there's a fucking bear outside trying to steal our honey.
Does
So it
CBD
makes them think
work
like-
for them? Does CBD work for them at all? Because I hear a whole
I don't
lot
know,
of
I haven't
good
tried
shit about
that.
CBD.
Dude, just feed them. No, you might kill the whole hive if you feed them CBD oil,
I think this might not be cost effective.
or they might just be so lethargic.
I'm
they
just
don't
trying to
care
figure
about-
out the whole smoke thing. Is it just smoke in general? Like if you burn cardboard or like, you know, whatever? Or like, but
Yeah,
like
people-
if you
people burn
literally
different
blow
things.
up some
I
fucking
use-
like, you know, high THC shit at them.
No, I use
Dude, I want to
burlap
cut your hair so
and,
bad right now. I
pine
want to cut your
needles.
hair so bad. Like honestly, when you pull that little bit of fucking bang down, it's like I want to cut it so bad right now. I want to get on a no, I don't want to get on a plane. I want to get in my car and drive across country with my shears.
You can cut my hair, Dirt.
One more. Who makes your suits?
The internets makes my suits. So I go on the internets and then they give me suits. I just have to give them
It's
some money.
actually created from cybernetics.
Push the buttons.
Yeah, there's a couple sites, Oppo Suits and Shinesty. They make a ridiculous amount of insane suits. So it's not hard.
I want to go back to a question that came up. Well, a topic that came up during the CSM conversation earlier, because I was about ready to just like thank you for your service and all that kind of shit. Are you going to be one of those elder statesmen who are like, you know what? Look, I was there. I watched how the sausage get made. You know, I am sticking it out. You're not quitting, right? You're not quitting EVE Online?
No, I'm just gonna do what I've done. You know,
What
I've
do you
spoken
do
at
in your
events. I
He's
shoot
like,
people.
he's
I
like the
fuel
number
people.
18 guy in test.
I'm not in test. How dare you, sir?
Or Brave. I'm sorry. Fuck.
I
was
I
talking
just
to Billy earlier.
What's the joke, Dirk?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I was talking to Billy earlier. Whatever.
He probably is the 18th guy in test.
Fuck, I'm drunk. Nobody gives a shit what I say.
I'm the secret executor of Goonswarm, actually. So
You are a shadow executor there, but like you're not quitting. You're not quitting from the standpoint of like you're not doing that whole I was on the CSM, boom, I'm out. I'm just gonna go spend time with my wife during the Rona times. Okay, like, but the question is, are you gonna be one of those
the whole
people who
point
are
of
out
me
there
not the whole
talking,
point
like,
of me
like
not
using your
playing.
experience to help communicate the broader message of what goes on and all that outside of the NDA? Because obviously you're still going to be NDA'd for another, 19 years.
It's not my job to after I leave the CSM to defend or come up with something about whatever. I can give my opinion. I'll be happy to be on podcasts and shows and
CCP
give my
Comics
opinion
here.
to
Sorry,
something
Bam.
place.
Hold on.
But it's
Drayden,
not my
can you
job to
give
be,
fucking Bam Stroker some goddamn team speak?
I just did, dude. He's already in here.
Yep.
Oh,
He's in.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, is he
I
here?
think Drayden.
Sorry, I
Drayden.
just read his shit.
No, it's
All
cool,
right,
man.
I just wanted to
like,
get
you
in.
got-
let Dunk
you got-
finish his thought.
All right,
So-
so
Do right by Dunk.
you got Bam there. I'm gonna go.
No,
'cause
no,
It's
no.
been 2 hours. I've
No,
been standing
Bam
here.
never made it to the
Yeah.
CSM. He had to get hired.
Are you a Chad? With
I'm
this
Drayden. I'm dipping out as well. So.
Who's Bam
Okay.
Stroker? I don't recognize that name.
Okay.
No, it's,
Sorry,
Hey,
CCP
guys.
Convict is
Come on,
here.
guys.
Oh
Good night.
yeah,
So
hey guys.
thank you all.
right,
Thank you,
see you,
viewers at
Dunk.
home.
Dunk, thanks for coming on, man.
Everyone. Rain, run for CSM, please. Talk to you later.
She's gone.
That'd be sick.
Oh no, she's not gone. I
All
thought
right.
she was.
Oh,
You're going down the
no,
floor.
she was just under her desk.
See
But
you guys.
Dunk, you know what? Even though you're not fucking running, okay, I do want you to be one of those senior statesmen who are like, still playing the game and are out there, trying to
Dunk.
communicate all that kind of stuff.
Dunk, do I get the #1 Brave vote if I run?
I can't guarantee because it's not my
Very
call,
good.
but I would make a strong advocacy. I would make a strong advocacy.
Are
Look,
you
it's
the
I'm not in
s-
charge.
I thought you were the CEO of Brave.
No,
Kagali.
my official title.
No, it's that
my
fucking
official title.
Australian guy.
This
like,
whole
like
Is
time.
Kaggle
shows his
still in
legs
charge
and
of
shit.
Brave?
We've
Dude,
never seen Dunk's legs.
I thought
What was
this
that
whole
Sapporo
time
guy?
I've ever played this game, I thought
With the
Dunk was
Subaru.
the CEO of Brave.
No,
Okay,
my
anyway.
official title is Electromagical Dojo. No, Major Domo. Electromagical Major Domo. That's my official title.
That
I
kind of
do
sounds a
want-
little bit like your
I do want to
Pokemon.
go back to a comment that Dunk made earlier about who he looked up to. Who was it you said you look up to?
Elise, I think
Elise.
Elise
And you
is,
know what?
Elise
And
is
you know
an
what?
elder statesman.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm
that-
not gonna lie. Okay, it is fucking hard to look up to Elise, but Dunk is that short.
Hey.
Terrible.
I mean, Elise isn't as short as Guard, but he's.
I know, but I think Dunk is a little bit shorter
It's
than
hard
Elise,
for
so
me
I
to
know why
judge,
he
though.
looks
Wow,
up
you
to
guys are
him.
brutal.
It's hard for me to judge because I thought Elise was
Brayden
average.
just sees everyone
Yeah,
as
I
short
thought
because
it's-
he's so tall.
I thought Elise was average height because everyone's just down there.
I know, but Dunk is just like an inch. He's like
or
when he's looking up at
Convict, sorry.
Elise and being like, "Yo, I don't know what's on the CW this week, but still."
Convict's actually pretty tall. Convict's almost at eye level of me.
All right, I would love to stay. I would love to stay to hear my height challenged, but I'm gonna go now.
All right. See
All
Doug.
of you.
Thanks for coming on in.
Have
and,
a good
Briefcase
have
of
a good night.
Friendship will return to all of the EVE events when EVE events actually fucking return.
When they're a thing again, yeah.
All right. So we're like actually. I just realized we're 20 minutes over
Hello.
time. Oh shit.
Oh, and I show up just at the right minute then.
Well, we don't end. We go to after
Yeah,
show.
we're legit gonna fucking
But
roll
I
off
was
here in a second.
like in chat like half an hour, 45 minutes ago when you guys were talking about structures, and I was like,
Well, we keep go-
I wanna say a thing, I wanna say a thing, I wanna say a thing.
we can
And now I'm
stay
just
for a
like
little bit.
invited myself in.
No, we can stay for a little bit. There's no one after us.
Right.
So we can
Hold
stay.
on.
We're
There's
allowed
nobody
to keep
after
on
us.
trucking as long as
We
we're
are-
No,
hold
no,
on, hold on.
now this is just a manifestation of my
I wanna take- hold on,
FOMO. Like I'm just like try hard, wanted to get beyond open comms.
No, we can
Time
stay
out,
for
time
a
out,
bit.
just real quick.
Okay.
I want to take a like poll of the people that are here right now. we're on track, right? Like we're chilling. We're like, cool as
Yeah,
fuck.
that's what I'm saying. Like we've been chill, so
Okay.
we can
No,
stay.
we're
Being good boys and
not.
girls.
Exactly.
This-
exactly.
This
Let's
drunk
just,
is a,
let's
this drunk
just
is a
keep
good
the
drunk.
vibe rolling.
Yeah, we're chilling. That's what I'm saying. Like I'll cut it
Get
if
your
we get
CBD.
crazy,
It's like just do your thing.
but I tend to cut it if we get
This
crazy.
this level of drunk is a good level of drunk, Dirk.
We have the
Exactly,
Matterall seal
exactly.
of approval. We can keep
Exactly. Matterall's like,
Okay.
fuck, this show here right now, I'd totally bring to Talking in Stations.
going.
That-
No,
also,
we'll stay for.
It's done.
Go ahead. So while I'm fixing the
CBD and
cameras,
stations.
while I'm fixing the cameras, go ahead and
Shut up, Rimmers
rock out where
beard.
you're going
With,
Mike.
with Virgin Queens.
also, I'm actually trying out a new microphone right now, so I need to get your feedback and the feedback from Twitch chat. Does this sound okay? Am
Yeah,
I
it
blowing
sounds
shit
clear.
out?
Volley-
Is it good?
No,
It's crisp.
fine.
It's nice. Okay,
Crisp,
good. Good.
Audio quality's good. Volume is
Breathe
good.
really
So you're
heavy
solid.
and then type a little while holding your push to talk.
Can't do too many things at once, Rain. Like things are hard.
That's
Okay,
a weird
breathe really
kink, but
heavy,
that's a weird kink,
And
but it's
then
cool.
like type while holding your push to talk. Those are the two things.
All right, okay. I'm holding my push to talk right now, and I'm just gonna clickety clack in thing.
Okay, that's kind of loud, so you just can't type. Well,
Yeah, I couldn't do it anyway because I only have one hand free.
I would advise no one typing
Oh.
while they talk. Is my
Array is talking about ASMR. It's like, how do you like your internet spaceships, Array?
You gotta have more whisper. You gotta have more directional sound as well.
Okay,
More
okay.
mouth
I gotta work on it.
sounds.
See,
More
I
mouth sounds.
I'm
I
learning. I'm
want
learning.
it to feel like you're rubbing the back of my ears while you're talking to me.
Speak moistly into the mic.
Yes.
It'll sound much better.
Moistly should not be a verb
No, it's an adverb.
or an
actually.
adverb. Sorry. Excuse me.
Okay, we're getting there. All right, so I'm fixing the camera. I think I've already mentioned it in chat, but I did reformat last weekend. I finally am in the Windows 10 era, boys. I've done it.
Hell
I
yeah.
finally made it.
Fuck yeah.
We in the
shot
future
time.
now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But in doing so,
This has been a while because you know what? Look, there is a long fucking journey from Windows 3.51 or whatever the fuck it was
No.
until Drayden got to Windows 10.
Dirk, you don't want to open this can of worms. Remember the last time we were hanging out?
I know,
talking about this,
and then
and
we were
went
like
down
sitting
this
there being like,
rabbit
"Fuck
burrow
yeah,
of like
remember those
486s and old school nerd shit. Like, people don't need to hear that.
Yeah,
now, man.
but
Drayden has been rolling up fucking Windows for like work groups for like years trying to do this show and play Eve.
no, here's the dumb thing. So I was on 8.1, and the reason I was 8.1 is I had 8.1 back when 8.1 was the new shit, and then the free Windows 10 upgrade came out, and I upgraded Windows 10. But literally the exact day I did that, my ISP apparently had a bunch of ingress in their head end lines, and so when the second I came out of the Windows 10 update, my internet was fucked, and I was like, the only thing that's changed was my operating system. Windows 10 sucks. And everyone at that time was talking about bad Windows 10 bugs. And so I'm like, fuck this. So I went back to 8.1.
It wasn't bad, dude. Like honestly, unless you were like a hardcore motherfucker, it's
but
like
what
it
I'm
wasn't
saying
bad.
is they had a bunch of ingress at their head end. So I had like 20 to 30% packet loss for like a month. And so I thought it was Windows 10 because it happened right when I did that. So I was like, I'm going back to 8.1. That worked fine. And then I went back to 8.1.
No.
Same shit was
It
going
was because
on.
you're from fucking Idaho, dude.
And then I was like, well, I'm not going to
Nothing to do
reformat
about
a
Microsoft.
third time, so fuck it. 8.1 works. I'll just stick with it. And I've stuck with it since then. Now I finally went back.
He's just running on those like high school potato experiments to get his computer running.
Whoa, hold on. Time out. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever fucking noticed this, so I'm going to point it out. Yo, LB, do that whole flex behind the head again. Look at the fucking tats on fucking LB's fucking
He has them on
pretend
his
Oh,
biceps.
damn, he's got some guns, man. Whoa.
Yeah,
I've never seen
almost
that
like
shit
I get
before.
paid to work
no
out.
lie. Like honestly, dude, you went down and got fucking tatted up on that shit. Did you go to Florida this past week or like?
These are 20-year-old tats. Calm down.
Are they really? Okay, I'm just like checking.
Are we moving to after show?
Well, no.
No,
we're
Bam had
behaving.
some-
No, right now-
no, Bam
right
was-
now-
Hey,
I just-
don't change shit just on my account.
Okay.
Oh,
No. You were
I kind of barged in.
I do want to bring up kind of like sort of a look back in time and whatnot with CCP Convict, who we all knew, who was Bam Stroker and whatnot.
Are you allowed to dox him like that?
Convict, motherfucker.
No, I'm public on that account, man. So
I
if
know
people
it.
know my main is Bam Striker, that's fine.
I do want to know. It's like, because I remember 3 years ago when like this shit didn't work out for you, and then all of a sudden you got hired and whatnot. It's like, 3 years later, like, how are you loving life right now?
Dude, actually, legit, this is the best job I've ever had. It is
Really? Because you had
yeah,
some
for real.
decent jobs in life.
Oh, I did, but it's a function of like what you do as well, not just like, whatever you get paid and stuff like that. But since showing up to Iceland, working at CCP in the headquarters, like everyone's super happy to see you. It's super welcoming. Everyone gets along really, really well. There's great interaction between the different teams. And it feels super good. Like I've come from like a public service type of background, and this is my first job in like a real sort of like private company. And I had certain impressions about what it would be like working for private enterprise and things like that. But from a corporate standpoint, in terms of the structure and the feedback and the interactions with my managers and all that sort of stuff, it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's fantastic. Like if you're a nerd who's thinking about like, damn, it would be great to work for CCP, you would be right. And if you are inclined to go to the CCP careers jobs page to apply for something, then you should totally do it.
Do you guys still have community positions open?
Community positions right now, I don't think so. I think there might be a GM position and a couple of
already
other
gotta go, Ray.
related positions
You're out.
going on.
Do you need a security guard?
Or an accountant? Auditor?
Somebody
There's
who
all
will,
sorts of
somebody
stuff.
who will
An
just
IT
scoop
auditor?
lamb's heads onto your plate.
There's all kinds
I'll
of
do
things
that.
going on. ccpgames.com/careers, I think. Go there, look for
Exactly.
stuff.
Go there. But bam,
Yo,
convict. Back in that fucking day, like you were working in a hard school kind of like, place. Do you think Hilmar's ever going to run for Prime Minister of Iceland?
I wouldn't
And
rule
will,
it out,
and
man.
will
Like,
you be on
he's-
his staff?
Like for real, he's never expressed any inclination towards that outwardly. But I know we're just making jokes and stuff like that. But in terms of the context of Iceland, CCP is actually a fairly large and influential company.
Dr. Pepper and cream soda.
Because-
Fuck you, Drayden. Keep going, Bam.
because CCP Games is a company, an Icelandic company, which basically exports its product to the world. So in the context of Iceland, which is a small country, it's like 350,000 people.
I thought it was
CCP Games is-
500,000. My bad.
No, it's less than that, man. It's like
Are you counting the people
Wyoming.
who were out like by the volcano?
No, man, it's like Iceland is Wyoming in terms of population, man. And so they make a product that exports to the world. There are a lot of successful Icelandic companies, but not many that sort of like elevate the nation on the world stage the way that CCP does. So it actually has a lot of influence within the country. And obviously Hilmar, as a consequence of that, has a very big profile. And I'm not going to speculate, but if that guy was inclined to throw his hat into the ring at one point or another, he's certainly got the name recognition. The country knows
I
him.
mean, he
so
really does,
good luck
right?
to him.
Doesn't he? Like, and I really feel that that's why you were hired, because like you've got the ability to like actually propel him. To the next
Yeah,
level.
it's a backdoor thing. It's like,
Hold on. And
Bam
then
Striker's
all of a
got
sudden-
political expertise. So
Now
like,
it's
get
gonna
him in
be
there.
it's gonna be hard for somebody named CCP Convict to promote the next prime minister of a country.
No, I actually like this comment by Graftar. He's
But
like,
we'll work it out.
he's like, if this happens, can we use our Eve accounts instead of a passport in Iceland?
That would be awesome.
Maybe,
That'd be
maybe,
pretty sweet.
I mean, you talk
maybe,
about dabs in
maybe,
politics, but that's what
maybe this.
CCP Puncturis did. She's now in politics.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah. CCP
exactly.
Puncturis is now a
And
legit
he may
politician as well.
actually be on her next campaign. Like he may, because you know what? This motherfucker's an operative. And I don't mean a pandemic legion operative, which we all know exists. I
No
mean,
less than 12
he's a
Black Legion
legit
spies.
fucking operative.
There's
He
no
was
less than 12.
able to sell. He was able to sell in Australia how, like, being a liberal was actually a conservative.
That's just one of the quirks of Australian politics. It's a naming thing, but yeah. Fuck, who knows, man? Like, could be a thing.
Dude, I know why you've been put in the place that you have been, and how Iceland is gonna fucking take over the world.
It might help if I could
Once the whole
speak
fucking
Icelandic,
Rona
or
goes
if I
down.
even understood the political landscape in Iceland, all those kinds of things. Then maybe I'd have some actual skills to apply. But yeah, no. Right now I'm useless. All I care about right now is the EVE Online community and like doing what I can for you guys.
Your team has actually been fucking rolling up like some really good shit. Okay, Dopamine. While I disagree with a bunch of the changes that he made to the whole minutes thing and all that kind of stuff, it's like he actually understands how the whole fucking like communication. I think it's him. If it's Grendel, then I want to give credit to Grendel. Okay, but like what's going on there right now with you guys reaching out, especially during what's going on right now during a global motherfucking pandemic, okay,
Mhm.
is outstanding. You guys are like still putting out content for the community to eat on.
Well, this is one of the benefits for working for a tech company. Like, again, I can't imagine us pulling off this well, like in my old job, because it's full of like troglodytes who are flat out using Outlook and stuff like that, and they would, you know, in like government and public
Dude, I'm
service, they'd be
using
in struggle
fucking
town.
Outlook. Why?
You know, but I mean,
Why be
but
mean?
But what I mean is like, so since about the 15th of March, all of CCP has essentially been working from home. But from my perspective, it hasn't really had an impact on our workflow at all, because because we're a tech company. We make a video game, but we're a tech company. We use like a whole bunch of different tools to collaborate every single day. We're not in the office, and certainly there's a degree of like frustration when it comes to like, oh, I just want to be outside, or I want to get out of my house, I'm out of my room, and all these kinds of things. But when we're using Microsoft Teams and Confluence and you know, Slack and all those kinds of things, just to keep in touch and like plan our workflows, and you know, Jira and all that sort of stuff that we've used all this time, being at home hasn't really affected our output. At least that's how it feels to me. It's more of a psychological thing. So
Well, I mean, you are part of the community team, so therefore your output should not be affected at all.
No, you wouldn't think so.
Because you're
But
part
like,
of the community team.
the community team's an endpoint for a lot of different things in the company that fit into it. Like just today, for example, like with the Forsaken Fortress, like devblog, like the time you guys find out about that is a thing, it's when the community team has published that to the website.
How much advance notice
But behind
did you
that,
have for that?
Going probably back, for me personally, probably back to and a little bit before the last CSM summit when it first came up and got discussed about this change that we wanted to make to the way that structures work. So in that context, like 3 or 4 months or something, quite a long time. Not all changes come from that far back. You know, this is obviously a big change, so we wanted to like, you know, make sure it went through proper analysis, and there's like lots of coding you know, there's coding, you need to get like your engineers on board to change it up, and you also want to get feedback from the CSM and all those kinds of things. So that was a long run up event. But by the time you guys go onto the EVE Online website or open up the launcher and see that news item, the last step before that gets to you is the community team publishing that. But before that, you have various teams, and you know, even to creative services, you create the key art and stuff like that. A whole lot of stuff fits into that funnel before community finally digests it, you know, to the community at the end of the day.
I am wondering, like, where is CCP Fozzie's name in all this?
CCP Fozzie,
because honestly, there are people out there who are like, "Oh, CCP Fozzie only does bad things to us."
Not true.
Where was he?
Not
where
true.
Was,
he does a lot of
was
good.
he in this?
Actually, CCP Fozzie is currently working on Team Ra, who are our live events team. If you want to see what CCP Fozzie is doing, you'll need to look at most recently the Hunt event that happened over Easter. And if you go on to, I think, just go onto Reddit, you'll find 2 or 3 threads where people are saying like, or even the EVE Online forums, you'll see threads where people are saying, this is actually the coolest event that's come along in a long time. Please make it permanent. Like, those are the kinds of things that Fozzie are doing right now.
If people listen to the, I guess it was the pre-broadcast to the trailer that came out that you put on with the 3 devs, Fozzie was one of them. And you could take an understanding away from that little moment, is only about 45 minutes to an hour, that Fozzie's doing a lot of experimentation in these events that may later get adopted into actual changes. I think that's kind of how they're using it.
Well, hold on. Number one, you sat there and said 45 minutes to an hour, which is way longer than the average attention span of any of these motherfuckers who are listening right now.
Dude, were you guys paying attention? I streamed for 6.5 hours last Sunday with Lord Maldoror. Like, 40. You want to say 45 minutes?
You didn't do that. Lord Maldoror did that.
Actually, I will take that point.
How
All
long
I
is
did
this
was like
Sunday?
ask a question and sit back and listen to his chocolatey velvet voice.
It's like, it's like, and this is one of the things where it's like, I always hate when people kick on fucking individual devs. It's like, that's just fucking terrible. They weren't the last line decision maker in any of this shit. Like, let them fucking play out as a team, but the guy that actually communicates it to you is not the one you should hate. Or
How
love,
long is this
or
Sunday
love
gonna be,
even,
Conrad?
or love even.
How long is this? Sorry, what was that, Metal?
This Sunday, you've got one of my favorite devs of all time, Real X.
Yeah, Jon Hetler. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
this guy
so-
made the music. that we all listen to.
Jon
Jon
Hetler Haraldsson.
Jon Hackler.
What was his CCP name?
CCP Real X.
It was
a
Real
lot
X.
easier,
okay.
Yeah. So he was the original
I think we should
composer
all
of the
have
Evil
to
Line
actually
soundtrack.
learn how to pronounce the
Dude, think about
fucking
it.
dev names
Everything-
outside of like their CCP. I'm a
everything
guy.
that seeps into your subconscious was created by this guy.
Yeah.
Learn how to
No.
speak
It's
another
like it's
language,
burned into your
bitches.
brains. This guy's had so much influence on you that you won't even realize.
Yeah.
So yeah, on Sunday evening from 19:30 Eve time, we'll be. I'll have Jon Hetler. I'll have CCP Old Boy, who's the audio director of EVE Online, and Christian Gudmundsson. I'm still working on this.
See, you're trying to do your whole fucking like get it down.
Yeah, no. So these guys. Oh, I can hear a little bit of Below the Asteroids.
That's the way to do
Thanks,
it. That's
Drayden.
the
Yeah.
way to do it. LB, like
that's
Yeah.
LB,
like
that's
Oh, is it
LB.
LB?
Make it be
Yeah.
a bass.
This is
LB
Points on
sounds, that's not me.
pronunciation.
This is Jon's work. So so today, actually it's now yesterday now, probably still today in the United States though. It's still the 24th of April there, right?
Yep.
So today is the 7th anniversary to the day of the 2013 FanFest Eve Symphony. And so we had like 11 tracks from the classic Eve soundtrack performed by the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra. And so this Sunday night, just to keep cadence, we're gonna revisit that symphony, and we're gonna have Jon Hetler, we're gonna have CCP Old Boy and Christian from the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra, who did the arrangement and composition for the orchestra tracks. We're gonna revisit the actual symphony itself, and we're gonna have a conversation with those guys about like what went into it, and also with Jon about like the classic Eve soundtrack music and all that kind of stuff. So tune into that. It's going to be totally sick, because this is now they're going to be the 4th installment of these like Sunday night streams that I've been doing. I've had Ian Chisholm with Clear Skies. I've had CCP Zon 3 with Eve Cinematics. I've had Lord Maldoror with Rooks and Kings videos. And now we're doing classic Eve music with the backdrop of the Eve Symphony from 2013.
I'm gonna watch. Remind me the time on Sunday that they're doing this.
1930 Eve time.
That's -7, so it's 12:30.
So it's a good time for US.
It depends on where in the US.
It's
It's like
oh, come on, man!
continent.
It's like a Sunday at like midday.
It's totally
or whatever.
good for me, so I don't give a
Worst
fuck.
case scenario, it's like midday on Sunday. If you're like,
I'm gonna legit be there.
If you're like West Coast,
for me.
Drayden is like, I don't fucking know, because I got potatoes in my state, and we're like
so
4 hours later.
If it's 1930, that's 12:30 for me. I got something going on from 12 to 5, so I won't be able to watch it live, but I'll watch the replay
oh
for
man,
sure. Because
that's
I wanna
cool.
watch
No,
it.
yeah, the VOD will be on Twitch after the
Yeah,
fact.
I'll
Like the
definitely
reason
watch
we do these streams at 19:30 is because we obviously want to be available to as many Eve plays as possible.
Exactly.
So like doing it 19:30, which is evening time for us, means that the Euros can buy in, and also means US can buy in. And like personal circumstances may vary, so you may not
that's
be
what
able
I'm
to
saying.
tune
It's-
in. But
it's midday on Sunday, so generally most people should be able to watch it live. I'm just saying, I personally can't watch it live, but I will watch the VOD because I do want to see this.
This is actually one of the things I did not like chime in for that whole fucking like Clear Skies thing, because honestly I didn't watch it
Dude,
years
it was,
ago.
I
know, I get that fucking shit.
Thanks
I get
for
what
being
you're about ready to
sick.
say.
Like,
Hey,
oh, man.
I didn't watch it years ago because I don't give a fuck about like somebody making up a pretend video about things that never happened in the game that I love. Right? Like
it was so good though.
I get
that's
that.
the thing, man. Like
But
Dick,
this-
you're in that
but
too cool for
this-
school
the
crowd where you're
music-
like, but it's fucking brilliant,
The
man.
music always existed. So therefore, I'm going to be there for this whole thing. And also because I went to the Metallica concert where they had the Symphony too, which was also fucking cool.
Dude, I wish I
That
could have done
would've
that,
been
man.
So good. I saw.
No,
I've seen Metallica.
not
I've
it
seen
would-
Metallica
not
like
it would've
4
been so
times
good.
live.
It was
I wish I
literally
could have
so
seen
good.
Symphony of Metallica though.
I've seen Metallica live.
Was it Michael
once,
Kamen?
and it
Was Michael Kamen and like they start opening up with Call of
yes.
Cthulhu,
It
and
was
it's
a
like
San
so
Francisco
sick.
Symphony. Like
I saw Metallica live once, and it was good. It was a weird situation.
no, we're not getting off into Metallica. I'm just
No,
saying.
God,
I'm
no.
just saying a whole bunch of music out there can be played by a symphony, and it is miraculous
I love
when you
symphony.
hear them
Yeah,
do their
yeah.
rendition
I
of it.
love symphony. Like I said, like on my Discord, I got metal scream rock shit, but
Exactly.
there's also I have Mozart
All that being fucking
and
said.
all kinds of orchestral shit on there too because I like that stuff. And so
For sure.
and not just soundtrack music, like a lot of the orchestral stuff is
What they
soundtracks.
did in
I love it.
2013, which was actually pre-Drayden for this show, I think. Yes, it was. Which was actually pre-Drayden.
was it
What
late
they did at
2012 I started?
FanFest that year,
Yeah.
in 2013 was
No, I
pre-Drayden.
was on this show 2013.
That was fucking amazing
It
for
was a
people.
10-year
out there because
anniversary.
These were songs that people had heard for fucking years, and it got performed live on stage.
I was in the crowd in
Dirk, I started the show
2013
late 2012.
when that symphony happened. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to
Whatever,
lie,
Drayden,
man.
I don't
Like,
remember you from then.
I got a little bit misty towards the end. That was a little bit struggle town listening
Right.
to some of those tunes.
I heard there were tears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
No,
you
a lot of
talking
a lot of
the-
nerds were crying that day.
Wait, on which one?
For the in the 2013 when you like 2013 was the first fan fest that I ever went to as a player.
Oh,
and it was the 10th anniversary of EVE Online because obviously the game launched in 2003, and the EVE Symphony was like how every year CCP comes up with something really cool to do, like the EVE of Destruction.
No,
with, like,
Ray, I never watched Clear Skies.
with Gunnar Nelson, Reckon Nerds, and all that kind of stuff. And so 2013, it was like the Icelandic Symphony Orchestra playing those tracks, and I was sitting up there in the seats in Eldborg, which is the main concert hall in Harper, and watching a symphony orchestra play the EVE soundtrack, man, like just like got me.
I wasn't
got me
into all
real
that
hard.
other stuff, but that symphony is something I really wish I'd gone to. Dirk, what's with the gray
right?
hair? What's going on there?
He's got his headset off. But no, I don't know. I'm sad I'm gonna miss it live because people say you can just watch the recording. It's like it's not the same because you get to interact. Like I don't know. Like other people say they don't care about the chat. I like interacting with the chat when I watch shit on Twitch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like half the experience. I mean, because here's the thing. I watched Clear Skies not when it first came out because it came out before I even started playing the game, but
Sure.
when I found out about Clear Skies and then I watched all three, I'm like, that's the best shit I've ever seen. It's so good. I was watching it on YouTube or whatever the thing was that they had it posted on. But what was it, like 3-4 weeks ago or whatever, when you guys did the Clear Skies broadcast?
Yeah.
With Ian Chisholm, that was, I mean, I don't know, like maybe it was just a nostalgia coming up and like getting to, because I haven't watched it since back in 2012, 13, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it was so good to rewatch it. But being able to, it's not the same as like being in a theater with your friends, but it's everyone in the chat and being able to like react and see the chat.
Right.
It kind of
Yeah,
like,
it's as close as you can get, man.
It
Like
adds something to it, right? Like,
Big
all
time.
the people reacting and quoting things, just like all the it's like an extra aspect of the viewing that makes it more enjoyable in my opinion. Some people hate chat. I love the chat, so
I love it, man. Like that's something I said during the stream to Ian was like when you're coming up to those key points in each of the movies where there are like really quotable lines and stuff like that, and Twitch chat is just going insane with people saying the line. I'm like, this is like the Rocky Horror of EVE Online, because.
It's
like
like
Rocky Horror Picture Show has become that thing where like all the audience who comes along who are inside and understand like the culture of it know when to shout out certain things, and they throw shit at the screen and all that kind of stuff. And when you're in the moment with all these other people who are plugged in the same way you are, and you're watching them quoting all certain lines and stuff like that in Twitch chat, and you're watching the thing to scroll faster than you can faster than you can read it. You're just like, yes, this is so validating. You know, it's like I'm not alone. Everyone else understands it and shares the
now,
passion.
I missed a lot of the lines because like it had been so long, so I don't remember. Now I remember a lot of the lines like after the fact, but when people were saying, I'm like, and then I see it, but. I definitely PogChamp.
Plan B.
Yeah, I was like,
all right. Time out. I got to give some fucking like deets out to. Oh shit, Drayden.
Yes.
Got
Do you
shut down by
have the
Dirk.
fucking Omeka out in your like DM
Welcome
thing?
to the show.
I might. Let me check.
Hold on. Give my brother some space and like give him the details and all that kind of shit.
The details haven't changed since he's last been on.
Yeah, but he might not have saved those.
Because you know what? Some motherfuckers delete shit because they got too many goddamn things going on.
Don't
It's like
bookmark
they're
it.
just not a hometown girl.
I've kept all of mine from like past 4 years.
I know. I used to do
There's
that too,
definitely
and then
been
all of a sudden I
teams-
gotta delete some
I'm just saying,
favorites from
There's definitely
Microsoft.
been TeamSpeak servers and various other things where I don't save the bookmark.
I'm just saying, I got a DM from a man who wants to come on and speak.
All right, I sent him the thing. So he'll be coming in.
Hold on. And Omeka, honestly, right now, if like you're saying you only want to come on the next time Brisk wants to speak, it's like fuck that noise. Come on and speak when he's not
All right,
here.
now I will say we're now 50 minutes.
By the way,
past
I
time.
just did a shot. I just did a shot of Hennessy, and
This is my
honestly,
fault.
it was not my first fucking choice. You know why?
Hennessy's
Because like,
okay.
is it really okay?
It's
Who fucking does a shot?
I mean, if it was 1996 and you were a rapper, maybe it would be okay.
Oh,
I'm saying, like,
exactly.
it's okay.
And you know what? And you know I can rap like a motherfucker, but still, I was still
Dirk can
not
spit
done
hot
Hennessy
fire.
at the time.
Name
All
the
right,
five
so-
best
No,
rappers of all
did
time.
you guys ever hear
Dirk,
Billy
Jerk.
used to be able to rap?
Midnight chilling in
Billy would rap,
AM
and I think Dirk
PM,
and Billy should be
not
like a
doing
rap battle.
Hennessy
I've
because
never
I don't
heard
have
of
to.
Billy rap.
Billy
now, hold on.
admitted like in college he like would write raps or something. And I feel
Alright,
like
no,
Dirk versus Billy would be hilarious.
I would love
Hold
to see
on,
it.
hold on. If we're gonna do Ice-T at the same time, I could like fucking hang with that.
All
Like,
right,
Well, you have to
maybe
write
some
your own
Snoop
raps. You can't just
Dogg
recite
if
other
we want to
people's
like
raps.
actually blaze out and do Snoop Dogg.
All right,
Can
real
we do
quick,
Cop
everyone.
Killer?
We're like almost an hour over time.
I am way West Coast fucking
We
rap.
probably
Like I'm not gonna
should
lie.
Move over at this point because we are getting a bit drunk now.
No, hold on.
Yeah, let's dip.
We are right now just trying to fucking like
no,
you know.
I know, but
pull
this
shit
is
back.
the best time to transition before we get dumb.
No, sometimes we have to
Yeah.
sit there and go, hold on. What if we just push the edge?
No, we don't push the edge. That's what we've gotten good. The last couple weeks have been
I
so
think your
solid.
ego's
I
ready
think
to check your
Dirk
body
What
count.
did we
Piquet
just
wants
say,
to
push
gleam
the
the
edge?
cube
We've
if you
been
get that
so
reference.
solid these last couple of weeks. Let's
No,
just,
I
let's
know,
just
I
do
know,
it on a
I know.
good
You know
spot.
what?
This is a
I'm gonna
good
kick
spot
it
to
back.
transition.
I'm gonna kick it back to Drayden and sit there and go. We should be conservative in this because you know what? Obama would have said what?
Okay, so we are going to transition to the after show. If you guys want to continue listening, we're gonna move to the after show. We have to move off this channel. We'll go to my channel.
Don't
I'll
inject
post
the
it.
No, you know what? We're just gonna chill someplace else.
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna be
gonna
in a
chill-
back
no, I'm-
room, and if other people walk by while we're there,
No,
it's fine.
I'll post it. So anyone here that wants to, we're gonna continue this. It'll take give you 3 to 5 minutes to get cameras set up because we're gonna
Really?
more people are
Really?
coming in.
I thought you fixed all your shit to where you can just snap.
No. I set everything as much as I could, but I did not have any camera set because I couldn't have everyone in camera. That's fine though.
This is the fucking song I love. This is a song
So
that makes
if
me
you
want
find
to
it, man.
fucking rant.
I'm
This is
gonna
a
post
song that makes me want to sit there and say, you know what? I love all of you people.
I don't
Honestly,
even hear it.
all of our INN people, that some of these people on this
it's not
show
even
want to
quiet.
just fucking quit. I will never quit for you. I will always
Turn it up.
never quit for you on INN. This song is what revs me the fuck up no matter what I'm talking about. It can matter about nothing. Nobody fucking cares. They're just like, fuck it. Who are you? The fucking
I
white
think
man's
Dirk
rain?
comes with this
Nobody
is even better
fucking
than the actual
cares.
clip.
But sometimes shit has to be said. And when shit has to be said, I'm the guy who fucking says it. And that gets me into a little bit of trouble. But
Sometimes.
whatever.
All right.
Do you not pay your subscription to fucking INN for this.
Tyrese and Dominic's
What do you do?
Dominic's
Pay your
Dominic's.
subscription for fucking the Matani? It's like, come on! That guy can't even walk out of his house! He's afraid of the coronavirus! He has no idea what's going on! He's just online right now, making sure nobody fucks up his space empire!
Dirk, do you
Keep
wanna
going,
give the
Derek. We got 3 minutes left. Keep, you can do it. Dig
Do you,
deep
have,
in
do you
it.
have an announcement, Dirk, you want to
Dude,
share?
you know what? I am not running
I'll
for
beat myself up
CSM.
with it.
I am
Please.
not
No,
running
the
for
other
the
one.
Drake, Drake, tell me this is
Empire.
safe somewhere.
No, it's still online. Someone could clip it if they want, but I'll have it. I'll have a hard copy if you want a copy. I'll
May not
find
be
it.
allowed to
Wait
use
for it,
some-
wait
I got
for
the
it.
fuck out of the system.
I save everything hard copied, so it's all good. I got it. I'll get a copy.
Dirk,
of
you-
it.
Jeff Raider!
All right. We're off.
Stop.
Jesus Christ,
Don't-
Dirk.
Don't do it. Jeff,
Shots
do
to
it.
the road. Later, bitches. I will post my channel in chat. We're gonna move over there. Give it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes, and then we'll go live. See ya.
Suck a dick. Get your Rona where you want to, but enjoy life, bitches.